Yeah. Hey, I got a podcast starting right fucking now. Jump on the War Room 2024. We talking about politics, bro. I got to get off this phone. All right, later, man. Can you hear me? Oh man, here we go. I got issues. Hang on.
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, can you
Dog,
hear
you
me?
came in costume and shit. Fuck, what am I doing, my dude? Damn.
This was on my wife's idea. I love it though. I love it.
No, that's a good ass idea. I like it, man.
Trash bags and all.
Oh yeah.
Aaron
Oh, you talking
be-
about the dumpster fire and shit.
Oh. Hey, you said we're all trash, right? So fuck it.
Hey, bro. So, dude, I was talking to Jamerson this morning, man. Oh my god. Like we were talking about, the Kyle Mullins deal, and I was telling him about the what's his name? Jeff Nichols shit has went absolutely ballistic in Reddit. Like it's a full-blown class F5 tornado over there.
All right, so we're live just in case you wanted to know.
Yeah. I know. I looked and saw the live this time. I won't be killing it too bad.
Well, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, if dudes are out there peddling bullshit. Now, what's being said on Reddit? Is it
so it's 50-50. Guys are saying Jeff Nichols' program is the God program, and I keep telling them the same thing. Hey man, just tell me how many people have graduated, because I know this in the last class, 5 dudes on the Jeff Nichols program called me, and 3 of them didn't even get the class up because they couldn't run fast enough. So, and I put a bunch of DMs like all through Reddit and just say, hey man, here's a DM I'm getting from a Jeff Nichols dude, So, but here was the deal, Jay.
Go ahead.
He was out there saying that I was requiring 75 miles of running a week. So that's what he was coming back to. He kept coming back to, that program requiring you 75 miles a week. I'm like, you guys are stupid. Like I told Jamerson, bro, I got 4 times the amount of emails coming out of my inbox right now. Because I told everybody, hey, man, get the program. It's free. Check it out. 42 miles don't look like 75, but you figure it out on young. Oh,
absolutely. Because at the end of the day, man, like, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, if guys want to get out there and, make extra money once they're out, I mean, by all means, the military fucked you for however long you were in, right?
Yeah.
They got every single fucking blood, sweat, and tear out of you. So if you want to get out and leverage your military service to, fatten your pockets, by all means, do what you got to do, right? But you also have to understand that on the other side of whatever you're putting out, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, there's a human being that's holding on to every single word that you're saying. When you're on social media and you have influence, there's a responsibility that comes with that. You just have to be mindful of that, and by all means, put your best foot forward, right? If you're peddling bullshit and kids are trying to accomplish their dreams and they're drinking that Kool-Aid and they're showing up and they're getting crushed, then something's wrong with that, man. That's just how it should be.
It is one of those things, Jay, where I threw it down. I understand what was going on now. I'm keeping it moving, right?
Yeah.
Like the wolves don't talk to the sheep. He's been in business since 2015, and he ain't got no traction.
There you go. It goes to show you, man. And that's the one thing about social media that, as I'm learning and I'm reading books and I'm, doing research about this, is you can only fake being authentic for so long. Like,
because absolutely, because like my video is marinating at 20,000 views, and it's like a lot of cats are like, oh man, I was always wondering about that, like, and now there's other cats jumping in, right? Like the dude with the big beard jumped in and was like, yeah man, if you're not running 50 miles a week, you ain't gonna make it. Now I'm not one of them dudes, but I know this, we're gonna hit 55 miles a week a couple weeks, so yeah. But it's funny because I kept coming back to, I ain't trying to make no money off nobody. My shit free. Like it's free. Yeah. Like you want it, it's free. Now if you want to pay for a program that's a lot easier that you think you're gonna make it on, go ahead. Cause I'm telling you, it is what it is. And here's the other thing. This is funny, Jay. all his comments are disabled on his YouTube channel, and no officers are allowed in his program.
It's because the officers can call bullshit, man. He's selling all
Bullshit.
these young kids that don't know any better, and it's like, bro, all you got to do is just, if you don't know, you don't know. Like, don't sell. Just stay within your comfort circle, your comfort realm, right? If physical fitness is not your thing, just because you're in shape doesn't mean you can teach other people how to be in shape. You know what I mean?
The other thing, Jay, that was killing me that I was crying about, and I was supposed to, I'm kind of letting it die down, right? I'm getting ready to hit this SAS video and the Mullen stuff. So, but it's funny because they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, I coached college football for 15 years. I got like 15 dudes in the NFL right now. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey man, no problem. Listen to Mr. Wizard over there. Go ahead, listen to Mr. Wizard. So
yeah, and the messed up thing is the folks that are probably telling you don't know any better, they probably haven't gone through anything.
Anything. None of them have even been to budget. No, like that. That's the 90% answer. My one of my responses is, have you been to Buds? Well, no. Okay, then appreciate it. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes.
That's why you got to take everything with a grain of salt nowadays, man. Especially on social media. Like I'm very, like I still read my comments just because it's entertaining. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I gotta keep in mind like who's writing all of this stuff. Because you can read some comments and you can tell, oh, this dude is either military, he's been there, he's done it, and then you can just like you have 3 separate baskets you can put those comments in. And at the end of the day, like I appreciate, the folks watching and their feedback. But it doesn't keep me up at night, man. Especially since, we've been there, we've done it. But
Jay, the plantation video, right? Like Jamerson was talking to me about that. He said it's gonna have a slow burn. He said every 2 months that video is gonna double in size because it's gonna get hot again in the algorithm. It's gonna come back. So you got all these dudes, and the favorite comment is, I saw none of this, and I'm like, are you a Caucasian? Well, yes. Okay, then I appreciate it. Or I was an officer in the Marine Corps. I was an 06. I never saw any of this. Okay, great. Well, how about you go read the comments from all the Black Marines in here or the Hispanic Marines that are saying, no lies detected in this video. Jake, 100% true. Could not be more correct, right? Like, you're like, hey, bro, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you want the right perspective, go ask the right people, I ain't got nobody.
Yeah,
I ain't got nobody.
It's all perspective. It's all perspective, right? Like, it's like you're looking at it from different lenses at the end of the day. It was a really good video, too. Like, I watched it from a beginning to end, and I'm like, and I read the comments, and I'm like, okay, clearly there's folks that are saying they didn't see it, and then there's the majority that are like, yep, it happened to me, it happened to me, it happened to me, it happened to me. It's like, well, that's what it's about. It's about discourse, right? So the other side should be like, oh shit, wait a minute, I didn't see it, but clearly that's a problem here because there's other people that it affected and they're clearly voicing their opinion. Like, that's what it's about.
Hey, here's the other one, right? Jay, this is the other comment from that video that I just be crying on, right? Hey, we got a lot lower numbers of minorities applying to the Marine Corps officer program. Well, no shit. They know it's a fucking plantation. They don't want nothing to do with it. I said, do you think educated African Americans and Hispanic people don't talk to each other? Do you think that the community of college graduates is that big that you're going to be able to slip something by them? Like, they already know what they're getting into. So they like, I'm not going.
No, fuck no. Why would you go if you know what you're going to get faced with? The
the
Army, the Air Force? Yeah, you'll just go somewhere else and just go make money.
Go?
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, man. I love the social media game just because it allows us the ability to, share our perspective and help, folks that are out there. But you also gotta, like, hearing some of the feedback sometimes, you're like, man, are people that either clueless? It's like, geez.
Hey, bro, like, man, I try not to, dude. I would use the dumb box so much, but I got hit for bullying like 2 months ago, and so I ain't trashing nobody no more. If I want to, I'll delete the comment, but I won't trash nobody no more for being dumb, because
Yeah.
like I got hit for bullying and shit.
Yeah.
So
But you remember
hey,
that like back in the days, bullying was good, man. Like it fucking helps you toughen up,
hey, bro,
and
listen, I told you
different.
my
Yeah.
story.
Oh
I
yeah.
got trashed at wrestling practice for two
Oh yeah.
weeks, bro. The worst bullying event in the history of mankind, man.
Could you
Turned
imagine
me into
if
an
that didn't?
animal.
Could you imagine if you didn't do that, where you would be, or the type of person you would be right now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I've been trying to figure out if I could set my sons up like that. Like I'm like, oh man,
No, no,
oh
no.
man, oh man.
Don't do it. Don't do it, man. Don't
Nah,
fucking
nah.
do
Hey,
it.
we got some questions in the chat. I'm not at UIW no more. I was back in town running the business, and then somebody said your wife was involved in your fashion picks, so they want to know about your fashion picks.
Yeah, she definitely
Um,
was involved. This was all her
yeah.
idea. It looks good though. Yeah,
Oh, you killing it, bro. Like, should we
oh,
go talk about some politics tonight?
it's
I
fucking
I,
one.
I was worried because I thought we are getting on at 5. I said, man, we need to be on like through 7,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
just
7
because of
because
what's
that's when the
going
polls
on.
close. Yeah, because the polls
Yeah, on
close
the
at
East
7.
Coast and the Pennsylvania and Georgia, right? Those are 2 swing states.
Yeah, yeah. Pennsylvania's going to be a big one. And North Carolina was. I'm not sure where it's leaning now, but that's when Aaron comes in with like, shit. You know how NBC has that nerdy dude with the glasses that
Oh
be
yeah,
tearing them.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's Aaron is our version of that, so he can easily like
He
break that
got
shit
real,
down.
yeah, he got real intellectual brain power.
Yeah, I just like I'm very surface level. Like I can go multiple layers on certain topics. Politics is just not one of them, right? So
Yeah, yeah. I'm mentor. So I got a kid. I can't say too much, but I got a kid that at fuck. I got a kid that was a senator's aide. Okay,
nice.
and he's gonna be a congressman here real shortly. And it's just crazy, man. Like I call him for the real scoop. He's like, nah, no chance, right? Like, nope. And it's like he'll be like, nope, this is what's going on. This is what's really going on, right? Like so and so made a promise to so and so 2 years ago, and they got him, whatever at P
Oh,
Diddy party. And
dude,
I'm
we
like,
know, we
all
know how
right,
this shit works, man. Because politics
yeah,
is like I haven't been in the military. Like you witness some of those backdoor deals and those conversations that are being had at certain tables at the highest level too, between countries and ambassadors and all that shit, and even to the lowest level in the team room. Like you're like, man, this is because that's how you get shit done. At the end of the
So
day, you have to give something to get something.
did you see the article by Russia saying that all the UFOs are United States technology?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
it
Like,
saying?
like, no, it just basically said like all the UFOs you're seeing around are United States technology. Like we developed it out of the 50s and 60s. And like same shit I was telling you the last time. Like, you think we just shut the space shuttle down? We ain't got something better than that? You think we shut down the Aurora and the SR-71? No, we got stuff 10 times better than that. We just
Oh
ain't
wow.
telling nobody about it.
So you don't think aliens exist? So that's a
Absolutely aliens exist, bro. Like
yeah.
that. Absolutely. What are you talking
you think
about? Do
they're
they exist?
you think they're living amongst us, just doing shit like fucking Elon Musk doing all crazy?
Absolutely, bro. Like, so I, it don't take it like you just have to play the law of the average, right? Like
Yeah.
law averages. Okay, we're on this planet in the solar system, right? We exist. Okay, maybe we don't exist. Maybe it's in the matrix, whatever. Okay, like there's a trillion stars we can see, a trillion. Like each one of those has planets around it. Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? You telling me
There's
there
no
ain't
way we're alone in this fucking universe. Yeah.
no, like Star Wars is the best depiction ever, right?
Yeah.
Like the only problem in Star Wars, everybody speak English. That's the only problem in Star Wars.
But when you think of it though, it makes sense, dude, because some of the like today I was doing some research because like the more I read and the more I expand my brain and read about achievements that others have had and financial, success that others have had, the more it drives me, man. And I'm like, fuck, I'm 40, but I'm like, by the time I'm 60, I want to be in 9 figures. So like, I want to be amongst those type of people. So now I'm going to work. I'm like, I'm 40.
I,
I
I
want in 20 years, I want to get there. What do I need to do to make this dream a reality. So I start looking at inventions, I'm looking for the fastest path, right?
But Dodge, so listen, I'm gonna tell you, Jay, that ain't the answer.
Yeah.
That ain't the answer. The fastest path ain't the answer. Because I'm gonna tell you, 1 was hard to get, 5 was not, and 9 was 18 months later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you're
Go
sitting
ahead.
there and you're like, but I'll tell you this, I love Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah.
You just pull up Warren Buffett's chart. Like once you get to critical mass, then you can't stop the train.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the whole deal.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a couple long conversations about it, right? Like,
yeah, because I was like I was just doing research like on how, certain, like for example, Elon Musk and how they've amassed their wealth and some of the shit that, they come up with to invent I'm like, there's no way this dude's human. But I'm like,
no. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Tesla, right, crushed everybody in inventions. He built real stuff. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you look at Elon Musk, I tell everybody, man, he started beyond home plate, right? He started with 10 runs in the bottom of the ninth, 3-2 pitch count. Like he had to throw 1 strike coming out the gate. He had a ton of resources as a kid. He got raised, so
right. Yeah. Yeah. That PayPal exit and then all his money, Tesla, SpaceX. But I don't know, man, like the more, it's just one of those fires that just burns and you're like, man, how do I, because I'm like, dude, by the time I'm 60, I want to be able to fucking be a minority owner in some type of sport franchise. I want to.
Oh, you want a sports franchise? You talking about big B's, bro? You talking about big B's,
bro? You look at or at least set my kids up to be able to do that in my name, right? Because you look at all these legacy families, and I'm like, man, like now. Granted, some of these sport franchises were purchased way back when that bitch was like $200 million. And now they're worth billions.
$2 million.
Yeah, $2 million. Because shit,
$2 million.
Dallas is
Dallas.
like, yeah, Chicago.
He paid like 200 million for Dallas, right? Yeah. Like Pittsburgh, they've had Brendan Rooney fanny forever. But here's what I'm gonna tell you: if Jay-Z and Ice Cube couldn't buy the Panthers, what makes them think they're gonna sell it to Jay?
Yeah.
So you might need 50 billion to buy you a team, right?
Yeah. Well, now I just got to get real persuasive. Because Donald Trump tried to buy Buffalo, they didn't sell him that shit.
Nah, they wouldn't let him buy Buffalo. They didn't want double, because you got to realize there's 32 owners, and they don't want nobody that's gonna be a problem for their brand.
Yeah, and shit, Carolina, because Tapper bought that one, but I remember when Diddy and all those guys were trying to fucking raise money to buy that shit.
They had it, bro. Cube and Jay-Z had enough money to buy it, and they wouldn't let them buy it. The owners wouldn't approve them for the buy.
I'll tell you what, though, man. Like I get persuasive. I use my Liam Nelson certain set of skills to make this transaction go through. But yeah, like and that's the type of shit that my brain goes through, right? Like I'll read about, like Michael Dell, the dude that fucking invents like Dell computers. Like I'll read about him, like Arthur Home Depot,
from his dorm room.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, why the fuck? Like, you ever just look at a certain like invention or situation and you find yourself sitting there like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? You know what I mean?
So I'm going to tell you this, Jay. I'll give you 2 winners, okay? And I talked to you a little bit about this offline, but so 84, my dad wanted me to buy Microsoft. I refused.
Yeah.
Had like $15,000 in the bank as an 11-year-old. I refused. I was like, no, I'm not buying ain't buying no Microsoft, bro. I'm not doing that, okay? But then I wanted to build MapQuest. I was on deployment in the Mediterranean, and I was like, oh, man, this internet thing, I'm going to build MapQuest. People are going to need directions places. But you in the military, get your head stepped on, right? And then you'll love this one. I was driving across country to go to Bud's. I stopped in St. Louis at my aunt's house, and Yahoo came up on the computer. I'm like, let me look at this stock price. $7.
Oh,
I said, man, when I get to San Diego, I got to call. I'm gonna buy some stock, right? A year later, so that was in 10 months later, I'm in Fort Benning information, and this kid's next to me like, oh my god, I'm making so much money on Yahoo. Oh my god. I'm like, hey man, what's that stock price? He's like, it's 137 today. I was like,
you fucking punch him in the face like,
just took it. Just took it. Took it.
Are we getting it? Are we getting it?
Hey, Aaron.
Are we getting it? What up?
I got to give you some feedback before we start, okay?
Let's go.
So you're being too serious from Jameson. Okay? Jameson said you're too serious. You're not vulnerable enough. He said you're a PJ. You're acting like you can save the world Superman style, which you can. But he said you need to be vulnerable. You're not showing enough vulnerability.
I don't know what that means. What do I got to do?
He said you're too serious. That's what he kept telling me.
I got it. Man, Jameson's the man. That guy knows better. I'll tell you what, like, you want to resist feedback like that, right? You want to be like, nah, he knows better than I do. Dude's bigger on here than I am. So guess what? I hear it. I got it. I'm just moving on.
7 a.m. call this morning on fire. Ooh, you got to fix these fucking shorts. These shorts suck. They suck. I'm like, this Optimus Pro shit sucks. He's like, I'm like, look, I'm fighting CapCut to make these things. He was like, you got to figure it out. Like, did you think about doing this? I was like, damn.
No, probably not, Jameson. We didn't. Damn. You know why? We're fucking stupid. That's why, dude. Like, we're over here just fucking nugging it out, bro. Like,
hey, bro. But I'm gonna tell you, I did what he said. Export the clip immediately. Drop the little ass clip into Optimus Pro, and it makes a short for you. Because I was telling him how to, you got to redo the aspect ratio to 9:16, whatever. But yeah, it was crazy. All right, dog. I know you've been over there on fire, Aaron. Me and Jay have been holding down the fort for the last 20 minutes, talking about every goon topic in the world. But we on election night, 2024.
Get it. Let's go.
Revolution is the revolution getting ready to kick off somewhere around mid-January? What are we dealing with here? What do you think?
I think November to January is going to be a freaking very weird time, right? So people need to get ready for, there's a bunch of scenarios here, right? Like in the scariest fucking scenario is something where somebody wins by a short amount. So the Republican National Convention, the Republican National Committee, they learned from the last time, right? So what they have is they have 200,000 poll watchers across the country. They got more than 500 attorneys in every single state, and they're focusing on the East Coast. It's why Trump, he was at 2 a.m. He's still out on the stage last night. That's when he broke the Joe Rogan news. At 2 a.m. on the East Coast. He had like 3 rallies, yesterday, whatever. So here's the thing, man. Like, everybody's ready to litigate this thing. There is a nightmare scenario where this is close and it gets challenged in court. It could go either way, right? Like, there's a path where Kamala wins 270 to 268. Just absolute terrifying, right? The census comes into play. We could talk about that at depth if you want to. But here's the point. If this thing is close, like, people forget this happened in 2002 where Florida was essentially the deciding vote, but we didn't know for weeks. So people, we're not going to know tonight. Like, unless it's a landslide, and we could talk, like, I think that there are some indicators that this thing is going our way, that is going the way that Trump gets elected. I think it's going to be bigger. And we could talk at length about all of those signs that I've been seeing and we've been talking about in the group chat. But bro, there's a nightmare scenario here where we do not know for weeks about what this is, and it has to go to litigation. And then we got to have to talk about, how the census drastically overreported blue areas and drastically underreported red areas in 2020 and 2021. And what that means is that affects the Electoral College. So if you look at those areas that got overreported, like, I don't know, Ohio, Hawaii, New Hampshire, some of these East Coast states, Tennessee got underreported, Texas got underreported, Florida got underreported because they actually count illegal immigrants in that too. That's how the Electoral College votes are figured out. They don't count people that are actually American citizens. They count bodies in the state. And when you overreport a state that has a shit ton of illegal immigrants in it, and you get more Electoral College push from that, there is a nightmare scenario where this goes to litigation. We figure it out. Now, do I think it gets there? No. I think we're seeing a lot of freaking. I want to put this out there too. Hey, everybody. Hey, Jameson. Guess what? I am going to be a little bit more vulnerable, motherfucker. I'm sober now. So tonight.
No beers.
This is athletic. This is a non-alcoholic beer. This is a non-alcoholic IPA. I was just douchey. I'm so douchey that I like IPAs, and I'm even more douchey that now I'm sober. I'm still drinking IPAs.
Aaron, I'm gonna call you a fucking drunk, okay? Because only drunks drink beer with no fucking alcohol in it.
It is what it is, dog. Hey, fun fact about this dickhead is non-alcoholic beer is actually more hydrating than water. Because of the stuff that they use to make it, and because they don't have the alcohol content, it's actually more hydrating than water. It's a fun fact that I figured out. Yeah, but I'm sober now. I've been sober for the first time in my adult life where I haven't been on alert. The only times that I never drank, when I was on alert and I was deployed. Those are the only time I ever took sobriety seriously. And the second that I got home, I was a fucking functioning alcoholic. It ruined my life. What is today? November 5th. I have been sober since September 28th.
Dude, you're looking better, bro. You're looking better.
What was the tipping point, Aaron?
You know what, man? I was joking around about doing sober October, but my friend, man, I was getting out here like Vegas. It was legal, so I got out, out of the military, and I was smoking weed and drinking and fucking. I would drink every single day, man. High functioning alcoholic, like it just is what it is, right? Like that's who I was my entire career. And if you're high performing enough, guess what? People leave you alone. I don't know how much.
Says nothing.
No one says shit. Like when I would show up to work, they'd be like, listen, Aaron, like it was a well-known fact how well I drank. Like when your supervisors come to you and they're like, yeah, man, I was talking about drinking with you. And somebody was like, oh, were you keeping up with Aaron? And I literally had a chief look at me and be like, no, nobody can really keep up with Aaron. That's not really a thing, But I'll tell you what, man, I started noticing after about a week and a half, I was like, well, I'll try it for a little bit. I'll try it for like sober October. It wasn't really like sober October because I had hurt my knee and I was coming back. And I'll tell you what, I took about a week and a half off and doors started opening. And I was like, wait a second. I can look at every single time I was supposed to level up in my life. Every time I was supposed to make rank. Every time I could look at a drawback that I had. Every time that I said some stupid shit on the internet. Every single time I found the one consistent thing, and it was alcohol. Every single fucking time. Every bad decision that I made. So, and I'll tell you what, every day that I get further away from it, more doors start opening. If it's the abundance principle or if it's the universe, I'll tell you, it fucking sucks for me. One of the reasons why I drank or one of the reasons why I fucking other, shit is because I have this constant running thing in the back of my head that I was trying to shut the fuck up. So it kind of sucks. Every day, like I make the joke with my wife. I'm like, what's next? What's now? What can I do now? What can I do now? Like being present and living in your shit every single day and not having a 4-hour escape of me getting blackout and then a 12-hour down period. But I looked at it and I'm like, fuck, man, how much time did I fucking waste? You're like, oh, you look better. Oh, wow. I wonder how much fucking time I wasted trying to out-train the fact that I was drinking every single night of the week. I drank every single night of the week, every single day, for every period of my life that I ever could. No problem. And not like a couple beers. Like I would crush a 12-pack and then just get up and go work out at the gym hungover. Like, oh, go figure my physical fitness is turning a corner that I've never turned before. Now go fucking figure. Fucking stupid. So I don't know what the tipping point was. It was a tipping point of like when I finally got sober and it was like fucking two and a half weeks in. And I really woke up one morning and I was like, what have I been doing, man? Like the tipping point was actually after I'd stopped been drinking and that fog cleared. And now it's like, I don't want to waste any more time doing that. I got too many other things going on. Too many other things going on.
That's fucking awesome, winning, my dude. Winning.
That's
winning.
And
we shall see.
I don't drink, Jake doesn't drink, and now Aaron doesn't drink, right? And I'm telling you, man, like when you're able to fully use your brain and like the possibilities are endless, I mean, when you're not waking up hungover and going through your day just to get through your day, you start seeing opportunities everywhere, and it's just better not only for you, for your families, for your kids. And you're setting a good example, right? Because at the end of the day, like I'm sure no one needs to tell you, like, hey, your kids are watching, right? You know what I mean? So they try to pick up your habits.
I'm over here like, fuck, I wish I had alcohol to blame on all them bad fucking decisions I was making.
Oh man, hilarious. Yeah, but it was just one of those things. Like I was looking at like how what's up to everybody in the chat too. I got on here and like in true Aaron fashion made it immediately about myself and not what we were fucking talking about.
But no. Listen, we made it about you too, Aaron. We made it about you because me and Jay were over here like, fuck, we need Aaron to get here because we need some political help.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to talk about? So the first polls are getting ready to open or close. Okay. So the first East Coast reporting, the website that I'm going to use, if you guys want to follow along in the chat, and I'll go go ahead and copy it. It's called 270 to Win. 270 to Win is a great site. It gives basically
you can
updated.
Share the screen. You can share your screen, man. I don't think
I will.
We'll have any lag this time around.
Yeah,
I updated my shit.
Nice.
Hey, that motherfucker had a string and 2 cups talking about my internet ain't very good.
Hilarious. Man, you updated your wardrobe too, looking good as hell right now.
Oh, trash.
So let's go, President. All right, yeah, so we'll go live results. The first poll is going to close here. So I'm going to show everybody what I'm looking at. And again, this is called 270 to Win. So as I share my screen, not going to share the porn. I haven't given that up yet. It's a joke. I gave that up first. Gave that up first. My guy. Got to get this ad out of the way. Why?
Like, I think it's reassuring, or it's good that, like, we can talk about these things, because it lets people know, one, that we're vulnerable and we go through the same shit they go through. And it also shows them that, hey, like, not all special forces operators or not all SF guys, soft guys, do what the masses do, which is drink and popularize and make it, I'm going to go smash beers and fucking smash chicks. It's like, no, man, like, that's not what it's about. Those guys are on a path to destruction. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you what, I don't have any judgments. Like, I actually feel bad about even saying shit like I'm sober. Like, I'm not going through withdrawals. Like, I've told Jake, like, I've been honest with Jake. I just haven't really said it that publicly, but like, I'm not going to meetings. I don't have, like, I feel weird telling people that I'm sober because, again, we all do this. I compare myself to people that I see that are truly addicts, that it's ruining their life. They can't get away. Like, I grew up in the opioid epidemic in Ohio. I know what addicts look like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, it's like, I feel weird saying, oh, well, I'm sober now, or I'm trying to, I'm going after sobriety. Like, I'm trying to be sober. I'm on the sobriety, like whatever, because other people have had it so much harder than I have. Other people, like, we compare each other all the time. But if I could be that example of a dude, like, it got to be enough with me. Like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Well,
all right. So I think I've figured this out. Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, man, the abundance, whatever you want to call it, the abundance principle, or the law of attraction, or, man, when I stopped drinking alcohol every single day, when I stopped just being fucked up to be fucked for no good reason by myself, get just hammered, like, getting hammered for early kickoff on NFL Sundays out here on the West Coast timeline, like, 2019 to 2024, like COVID for me, like, just getting shit faced for no good. There was no good reason. I wasn't celebrating anything. I wasn't mourning anything. I was just doing stuff. Like, why was I doing? Like, think of all that time that I wasted there.
Well, it's social norms. That's what you're expected to do. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. You yard in at every unit, you yard out at every, like, literally yarding in and yarding out. You have a yard of beer and you're expected to drink that entire yard of beer. And if you throw up, as long as you don't take your lips off of it, but you continue to drink, that's fine. Like, I didn't do that. Like, it was never a thing, but like, that is how ingrained in the culture it is to just binge drink. And like I said, God forbid you put out, miss show times, you're the bare minimum for who you need to be. If you're a high performer, nobody's going to talk to you. Not a single person in my whole fucking career ever I'm talking my closest friends, never pulled me aside and we're like, hey bro, you drink way too fucking much. You know what? It was almost just like, holy shit, man, you were fucking torn down last night. How are you even out here working out right now? I'm like, well, that's the deal. You just got to work out. Like, but it would take me like 4 hours to fear. I'd get through the workout. I'd finally take a shower. I'd go through my first meeting of the day. And then finally I'd be like, oh God, I'm not violently hungover for the first time today. That's, looking back on that, I'm just like, what in the literal shit was I doing?
Hey, Aaron, I'm at jump school. I'm with one of my good buddies from my class. He said, hey man, we got there's dollar beer nights at this bar out in town. Dollar Coronas, right? Like these $5 buckets, right? So I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. He didn't have a car, so I drove, right? We drive out there. I'm the fucking 02 at this point, maybe 03. He's a fucking E3, right?
Right.
And he knows I don't drink. He's like, yeah. He tells the waitress, can you bring me 3 buckets to start? I'm like, bro, we got jump school tomorrow. He's like, I'll be fine. Dog, 5 buckets of beer, 25 beers. And then was standing next to me in formation the next morning, bouncing around like nothing fucking happened. Hey, man. Oh, yeah, we're going to go run today. I'm like, Jesus.
Right. Some of those dudes are like that. And again, nothing against, like, we're not bashing dudes. We're just letting you know, man. Like,
go drink.
Yeah,
I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
I have no problem with guys that drink right now. Like I can't. It's not even. I have for the first time in my life, I have like 5 bottles of nice whiskey downstairs. I have a nice bottle of wine that I got from my wife as a present. Like, I just got hired in a new place, right? So I got her a nice bottle of wine as a present. That has never happened in my entire life. There's not one time in my entire life have I ever had alcohol stay in this house overnight, because I would just drink it. I would come home and I'd be like, all right, cool. And I would just continue to drink until I have a fridge downstairs full of beer. So when people come over to my house, I'm like, hey, you want a beer? They're out there. It's not even that I can't be. Something clicked in my head and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It is slowly killing me. I got this 8-month-old kid that is downstairs that is depending on me to be there for him in 25 years. Like, I got to be there for that young man when he's 25 years old. Okay. That puts me at 70. That means I got to be walking around coherent at 70. Like, I can't fuck around. I don't have time.
I'm going to ask you this, Aaron. Hang on real quick, Jay. Let me ask him this question, because he's on fire right now. Okay. So in the SEAL teams, I'm going to say there is a numerous body count within 4 years of getting out the teams of guys like aspirating on their own vomit,
drinking themselves to death.
Drinking themselves to death. We know the S word, but there's car crashes, there's DWIs, there's prison runs, right? Mm-hmm. Did that come into play at all? Did you say, hey man, I retired and like I can't be like those dudes?
You know, it didn't, because again, like I'm such a high functioning alcoholic, which is again a weird thing to say, because I feel like I'm taking away from people that are truly alcoholics. I'm trying to talk through it, but I was such a high functioning alcoholic. I would be fine. Like, my brothers and I joke about it. There's some switch in our head where like my brothers and I were just like, well, yeah, just quit drinking, dickhead. Just quit drinking. Like, it's the easiest thing in the world. You just don't drink, right? Like, that's our goal for it. Like, we can just literally nug it out. Like, I got that Mickey Mantle gene. So like, to be honest with you, it would have been fine. I didn't drive when I was drunk, but I'll tell you what, I had driven when I was drinking, and I shouldn't have prior to in my life. And I look back on those things now, and I always made it like I was responsible. Well, I didn't drink when I was downrange. Like, it's not one of those things where people were sending me alcohol and I had to get hammered. When I was on alert, flying, jumping, shooting, that stuff I always respected. There was never a time that I ever did any of that drunk or any of that hungover. As a matter of fact, on those days, and here's the depths of my alcoholism, I'd be like, all right, tight. Well, if I got to be up tomorrow and we got a brief at 9, that means I can't have another drink after 9 o'clock, because it's supposed to be 12 hours bottle to brief. In the Air Force, they say bottle to throttle, like when you take off, but really it's bottle to brief. So I was like, damn, if we get a brief at 9, fuck, I'm gonna have to start drinking at like 6 so I can get blackout before 8:30.
You're planning that shit out.
Dude, that's who I was. That's what I did. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, high achievers, bro, they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
What I gotta do to be successful. That's it.
Man,
all right, brother. Let's talk about this 270, bro. Like, what? Okay. So you telling me right now, like, this is just coming in real time? Like, Indiana came in, Kentucky came in.
Indiana and Kentucky come in right now. So those are electoral college votes. They'll start giving reporting, but those states have declared already. You can tell right there that Trump is up. He's got his 19. The road is at 270. So here's some things you're going to have to watch here. And here's some things that you're going to have to look out for. Every fucking state is in play right now. There was a thing that they used to call the shy vote, right? Where people would have polling. And we talked about this polling a little bit, where they would say the polling, they're saying that everybody's going to, people aren't reporting that they're going to vote for Kamala. Okay. Liberal white women are the only people that are voting for Kamala, and they ain't shy about shit. The thing that's happening with the polling, the thing that I'm going to put my hat on, I'm not going to make a prediction because it's easy to be wrong on predictions. There's a million different wacky ways this can go, but I'll tell you what's happening with the polling. Republicans, when you call them to talk about this shit, people are so fucking mad at America right now. There was just an exit poll that CNN had to play. 43% of Americans are dissatisfied, and 25% of Americans are extremely dissatisfied with where the country is. That is 68% of Americans. Only 5% say they're happy with where it is right now in exit polling. That should shock you. South Carolina goes to Trump, up 28. That should fucking shock you. Vermont, of course, goes to Kamala for 3 electoral votes for Harris. But that should shock you. When people come out of these exit polls, Arabs are coming out of the exit polling in Michigan, which you should keep your eyes on. Keep your eyes on Pennsylvania because of the way that Kamala Harris has disrespected the Jewish vote and did not campaign enough in Pennsylvania. Remember, she could have picked Josh Shapiro to shore that vote up. Michigan, I think, is going to be a big deal. Nevada's blood red. We're up 6 points in Nevada, and it's not close. In Pennsylvania, the big storyline is that the Democrats needed roughly 500 to 700,000 votes in order to have essentially a firewall in early voting. The Republicans not only decimated them 20% more than in 2020 out in Pennsylvania for early voting, but they did not get those 500,000 votes. They got more than 400,000 votes. There's true panic going on right now.
Aaron, as a novice caveman, okay, yeah. I'm used to voting with a stick.
Got you.
What states on here? Like we're watching the East Coast, right? The East Coast is basically Michigan, down Indiana, Illinois is in the central time zone. So down that corridor, right? Like Tennessee, Alabama. If we see, like, what states in there, if we see go red, is Trump winning? Like, I'm not gonna say
Pennsylvania.
I'm just gonna say
Pennsylvania.
Trump.
Yeah.
So
it's that big one.
Yeah, as we close, like usually who wins Pennsylvania as goes the thing. Now there's something called the blue wall states. So it's essentially like the Great Lakes. So there's Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Michigan. Let's see.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, like some of these blue wall, but then like some of the other ones are included, like the Sun Belt states, like Arizona, Nevada, some of these other states that are really Tennessee, some of these other states that are really big. Typically, when you see Pennsylvania is a battleground state that is a really, really big deal. And it's been blue forever. Biden won Pennsylvania by like 16 points last time. Some of the other states are a little bit wacky, especially when it comes to polling, which we were talking about earlier. Republicans are not reporting their true feelings on polling. You call me to talk about polling for this, and I'm just going to tell you to fuck off, which is what's been happening, which is what, like, it just is a truism. You call me to talk about Kamala Harris in this poll. I'm not going to tell you what I'm truly voting.
Hey, Aaron, I gotta share this with you, bro.
Here, go.
So I got a Detroit number, so I'm getting all these like pro Kamala messages. I should be arrested for what I'm sending back to them, right? Like,
nice.
I'm sending them back, and the response will always be the same. We're so sorry you feel that way.
Right. Hey, chat, I'm gonna put in. Here you go. Chat, here's the 270 to win. This is what we're looking at as the live stuff comes in. Why is Jay wearing a trash bag? Because he's a trash person. Grow up, Carlos. Fuck out of here. Florida is an indicator as well.
Crazy, bro. I feel Florida like we're like real reporters, Aaron.
Florida is, they say it's an indicator. It's not going to be. They won by 1 percentage point when Ron DeSantis was elected governor. They won by 18. Florida is an indicator as much, like, that is blood red, and they're going to vote 1,000,000-1. Like, that is not, like, Florida is an indicator, yes, for how things are going to go, but they're so red down there that the real indicators are going to be places like, places like Pennsylvania. That's going to be the first one. Another one to look at is it's been big in the news the last couple of days. There's a single pollster named Ann Seltzer that works for one of the most accurate polling places. By the way, that accurate polling place called it in 2020, and they're accurate more than anybody else over like the last 18 years. They're calling it 65-35 for Trump to get, and they're calling it a landslide for Trump. But one of the pollsters that works there, her name's Ann Seltzer, the Seltzer poll, she called Iowa flipping for Kamala by 3 points. So that'd be another one that we're looking at here to be like, hey, early indicators for success. Tell you what, New York, exit polling from New York's Democratic numbers bottomed out. Democrats typically don't show up day of. Republicans show up day of. Typically, Democrats vote either by mail or early. The polling numbers for New York were abysmal. There are some people out there that are like literally hitting the panic button from the Republican side. Number one, they're like, this has to be a psyop to keep Republicans home. These numbers can't be correct. They're so bad. And then number two, they're hitting the panic button because they're like, holy shit, dude, New York might be in play. Virginia will be big. Bob, that's a great one. Virginia will be big on the East Coast. Virginia is a deep blue state. Youngkin got away with one and ended up winning Virginia. Youngkin is the Republican mayor that lives there now. But I'll tell you what's frightening, and this is what we were talking about, the shy vote. We all know that young men, especially young teenagers, these Gen Alpha folks, they are turning conservatives in numbers like we've never seen before. Nobody is talking about the girls, though. These girls are terrified by being raped by an illegal immigrant. They're terrified that they're going to have to share a bathroom with a man. They're terrified that they're not going to be protected. They're terrified at who the Harris Walls campaign is telling us what a good, strong man is. So the shy vote, the people that aren't accurately reporting, they're finding in places like Virginia, in New York State, in Pennsylvania, what they're finding is that these people aren't saying that they're going to go in and vote for Trump. And when they go out, they're asking not to go on CNN. A CNN report earlier today was like, we asked 10 consecutive white females to tell us who they're voting for. None of them would come on camera. 10 for 10. They said they were voting for Trump because they're afraid in this election. That I think that there is going to be a largely underreported section of men that show up to vote. There's long lines in Chicago, long lines in Philly. There are long lines. Miami-Dade right now is red.
Oh,
are
wow.
you
that
joking?
County never goes red.
And I'll tell you what, and it's not close. I'd say there's a lead in there. To watch Nevada. Nevada has been a blue state because everybody moves over from California. It's been a blue state for an extremely long time, and have even Nevada to have them show a 6-point advantage. Sam Brown's going to win in Nevada. Sam Brown is a combat veteran, disfigured guy. Awesome. He is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And I think that he's going to win Nevada. And I think that that turnout, specifically young women that are not these really the middle-aged to old white females, is everybody you see out stumping for Kamala, the Julia Roberts of the world, the Ellen DeGeneres of the world, the M&Ms of the world, all these old white women that are just completely and totally like irrelevant. Those are the people that are the most loud for them. I think there's a large undercurrent of people that are going to vote, and it's going to throw a wrench in this monkey works. So we shall see.
Now, do you guys see, because I sorry to cut you off, Aaron.
No, go.
Do you guys see that Biden called all the people voting for Trump garbage, right? So that's the joke behind the trash bag, because everyone's been wearing trash bags to go vote, indicating who they're voting for, because Biden called them all trash, essentially. So for the folks that are asking in the comment section, that's what's behind the trash bag, right?
Well,
and I also like to embarrass myself and do this stuff to show my son that it's all right to not take himself too seriously.
Nice. So I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm gonna reshare something else. So number one, Joe Biden hates Kamala Harris. I've talked about this a million times. Biden hates Harris for the coup that they did, right? So for Obama, Pelosi, Schiff to walk in and threaten Joe Biden with the 25th Amendment after that abysmal debate performance and say, we're going to 25th Amendment you if you do not step out of this race. That's what happened. Joe Biden hates her. Their staffers allegedly got into fights with Kamala Harris staffers. Look at what Jill Biden wore to vote today. Look at what Jill Biden wore to vote today.
A trash
okay.
bag?
So
awesome.
no. So you're the sitting president and you're going to go vote. Oh, okay, wow.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So you're telling me you wear blood red MAGA colors to go vote. Joe Biden puts on a MAGA hat. Joe Biden, when Kamala Harris needs it the most, he was on a Zoom call when he called us garbage, when he called all the supporters garbage. And by the way, the stenographers at the White House actually there's internal emails that leaked. They were livid because the White House edited the comment to say supporter with a comma S, as in Tony Hinchcliffe's supporters, which was a blatant lie. It was more misinformation by the Dems. But they he did that while she was out front on the lawn having an event. And people were like, why would you do that? You completely undermine it. And now because he hates her. And now Jill Biden goes and votes, and that's the pantsuit you wear? That's what you wear? Oh, word?
That's not a message within itself. I don't know what is.
Saying something without saying something, baby.
Yeah.
Hey,
so here, go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, Jay. Oh no, I was just gonna say, man, like we're sitting here, I truly feel like a CNN reporter today. Most of the time, I don't have that feel, but I'm gonna tell you right now, like having had the last election where we kind of thought Trump was gonna win, and then he lost.
Yep.
And now we're in this absolute, like, dude been shot twice, right? Like he like all this craziness going on. We got crazy black Indian female from California trying to be the next president.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, if this ain't a monumental presidential race, like there's probably been something bigger, but I feel like this might be the biggest presidential race ever.
Now, Aaron, what are your thoughts on the absentee ballots? How do those affect the election, if any?
So everybody knows that the military votes red, right? And you have to, like, again, there's too many coincidences. If I look at one thing inside of its own silo, and I'm like, okay, the absentee ballots didn't, because we're talking specifically about absentee ballots that didn't get overseas for service members that are going to vote in absentia that aren't in their home state, right? Those are the absentee ballots that we're talking about. Great. The sample size here, we're not talking about a ton of people. Okay. We're not talking about 500,000 votes. We're talking about 10 to 30,000 votes is what we're talking about. But when you interweave it and you look at everything connectedly, who didn't send it? Austin.
Yeah,
Austin is responsible. Austin is responsible for not getting these ballots out, and they're not going to be able to vote. And we know election integrity is a big deal. And we know that he'd been motivated by looking like Darth Vader with his little mask on when COVID was going on. He's responsible for the Afghanistan fallout. He does things that are politically motivated over and over and over and over again.
It's positioning.
It is positioning. And to think that he wouldn't do something like this, what are we even talking about? What are we even talking about? So as we go here, I'm going to read off the states in the order that they close down here on the East Coast. So 7 p.m. Eastern time. This is 4 p.m. This is about 20 minutes ago. Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vermont, Virginia. 7:30 Eastern poll closings. North Carolina, Ohio, West Virginia. You could expect North Carolina is the one to watch there. So this one closes in about 10 minutes. We'll see how the reporting looks. North Carolina is going to be a big indicator, but they're up close. Ohio should go. Trump won Ohio last time. J.D. Vance, the stalwart, is there. I'd watch out for Sherrod Brown to get absolutely smoked in Ohio, too. He's a terrible senator in Ohio. West Virginia probably should go red for Trump. Joe Manchin's home state. We'll see how that's going to look. If you guys are watching anything in the chat, like if you guys are looking at something that gives more updates, man, throw it in the chat so that we can all bring up these tabs and see what's going on.
Hey, Aaron, as a former wrestler, I was just waiting for Jay to take off his plastic bag because like literally I said, this dude is over there sweating bullets. And I was like, he ain't keeping it on this whole show. There ain't no way he wearing a plastic bag.
Mm-hmm.
And then he only had a little t-shirt on. So that plastic was touching his skin. Now he had to go take a shower because he was sweating so much.
He got it too much.
Absolutely.
To continue, to continue with the 8 p.m. So this is going to be a big slate. Now, again, like they're not going to have finalized things in here. And again, it's a crazy thing. We were, until just recently, until very recent history, we were able to count all the votes and have them to you by dinner. But now the 6 swing states that actually matter, they can't report their stuff for weeks. Go figure. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock, there's another big slate. It's Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, D.C., Florida, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee. Now, Pennsylvania counts their stuff completely messed up because they violated, constitutional law and federal law by changing their voting requirements in the COVID era, and they've kept them. So basically what happens is they'll tabulate all in-person voting, and then they start counting absentee. It's like, oh, we can't open them until then. Where Florida fixed their problem after Bush Gore in 2002. Florida, the way that they do it is that they tabulate all of the absentee ballots and all the mail-in ballots first. So they get everything. All early voting is tabulated, whatever else. Then they use paper ballots. You have to present an ID because that's the way we do things in America. Then you present a paper ballot in the state of Florida. And by the time that they're done tabulating it, that's it. It's all she wrote. Florida reports what they have. So we're going to know Florida immediately. We might have to wait on places like Pennsylvania and people that count stuff differently. Bob, you live in New Jersey. I think it'll be closer than people think. I think you're right.
Did you guys have a voting machine where you made your choices on a screen and it printed out a really long piece of paper and then you went and put that in another machine?
No, mine was a sheet. Like I filled it out and and I put it in the machine and it took it and it gave me a receipt.
Same here.
Okay. I put my choices on a computer, then it printed out a sheet, and then I had to check it, and then I went and put it in another like almost like an ATM machine, and it took it.
So aside from so Aaron, aside from the presidential election, are there any other election that we need to keep an eye on as far as governors in certain states, the House, the Senate? Like, is there anything else we need to keep an eye on?
Well, the House and the Senate are really, really important, right? Because people forget that the down ballot, the up ticket affects the down ballot. If you expect people to see the question you have to ask yourself is this a referendum on Democrats? Is this a referendum on where we are as Americans, right? Because if that's true, because when Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, the Democrats refused to admit that maybe she was just a really shitty candidate. It was a referendum on Hillary Clinton and the entire political system, right? Americans were like, this is stupid. I'm voting for this outsider as a big pulsating orange FU to everybody that was inside of that system, right? And then 2020 was the same thing. President Trump had been harangued by the MSM for so long, and he obviously went through his 2 impeachments, and people were so sick of it that was really a referendum. That wasn't really a vote for Joe Biden. People are just aching for normal. They just want normalcy again. So in 2020, they voted Trump out because they thought everything was too volatile or whatever. And they put all their eggs in oatmeal brains basket and Joe Biden. If this turns out to be a referendum on wokeism, on safetyism, on all this nonsense that we've had to deal with on the Democratic Party as a whole, as the system as a whole, then you need to look at everything down ballot. God forbid Trump gets the House, the Senate, and the presidency, because he's going whole hog. He's gonna let every single person that wide tent that he's created with Vivek Ramaswamy and Kristi Noem and Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly and all these other folks, RFK, all of these other folks, he is going to let them absolutely off the leash. Get Ron Paul in there. You want to talk about ending the Fed? You want to talk about Ron Paul and Elon Musk working to take up like 80% of the federal government's gluttonous programs down? It's going hard in the paint. He will go hard in the effing paint, dog. We'll see.
I love it. I love it. Bring the fire, baby. We need some change in this country, man.
We will see. But if it's
like Florida's leaning more and more towards Trump right now.
Yeah, as they count it. Yeah.
Hey man, listen, I'm gonna be the first.
You can look here.
Someone asking me a question in the chat. I'm going to answer it. Let me tell y'all something.
Yeah, look at Miami-Dade.
Is it red?
54 Miami-Dade. So when you start talking about like Tampa's going to vote blue, like that's 50-49 Kamala Harris. That's ridiculous. That should be nowhere close. Tallahassee, 61-37 for Kamala Harris. It makes sense. It's the capital, right? But as you look, man, West Palm, 52-47, 60-38. But look at Miami-Dade. 54-9. That is crazy. Donald Trump got a lead of 53-8. Like these sort of things are what you look at, that it may be just Florida, but you start looking nationally and you start looking, oh, hold on, brother. That could be a problem.
Yeah, 62% reporting too. So
it
won't be long before we know Florida.
Hey, Mason said in the chat, man, 72 people in the chat. Big fire over there. Big fire. I think I'm gonna go live on my YouTube from right here, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go live like 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna tell everybody we're on the war room. Live. Bring them over to the war room if they want to hear it.
Yeah, and hey, if you're already in this bad boy, if we got 75 people in the chat, I don't see 75 thumbs up because y'all go give me a man. I'm telling y'all I'm sober. I'm letting you into windows of my life. I'm giving you appropriate political standpoints. Give me a thumbs up, motherfuckers.
The least you can do.
Let's go.
I wore a trash bag and sweat my ass off. The least you can do.
Did you hear my comment? Jay, did you hear my comment?
No.
I knew that was coming off because I knew you were melting, my dude.
Oh, bro.
I knew you were melting.
Especially with this light here, too. I was like,
oh, yeah, bro. I said, Jay is melting.
All right, Jerry, with your smart ass comment here, I thought Florida was not an indicator. The state of Florida isn't, but the state of Florida votes red as shit, but Miami-Dade County doesn't. Tampa's never that close. Tallahassee's never that close. So yes, Florida is an indicator. Florida is not as much as an indicator as Miami-Dade County is. So two things could be true at the same time. Aaron got mad at me the other day over politics. Like, no, I got mad at you over your shitty opinions. and because you say dumb shit and I'm willing to call you out. It's not mad at you, lucky ass. It's that you have terrible ideas and you say them in public behind an anonymous account. That's what I got mad at you about. I got mad at you because you're being a pussy, not because of your politics.
Oh, man. Hey, we still appreciate you guys, though, right?
But I do. Yeah. I just want to clarify. Yeah. No, it's a really good social media strategy to fucking berate the people that come to follow you every week.
This here is how men should speak with each other. Hey, you suck at life, all right? Fuck you.
Oh my God.
Oh,
dude, I'm still, man. I'm Dan Rather tonight, folks. I just want you to know I really appreciate y'all coming. We out here dropping fire on the United States presidency race. My new name is Dan Rathers.
Dan Rathers.
The black version.
Oh man, there was only it wasn't plural. He ended it in R. Thank you. Thanks, Seth Q. That's good input. I appreciate you.
So as far as cabinets go, Aaron, like who do you think Trump is going to, if this all works out for him, who do you think is going to be his top 5 picks as far as cabinets to hopefully get shit moving?
Well, I would like to believe in what he said on Joe Rogan. Between Joe Rogan and what RFK said when he was interviewed, somebody, I think it was Chris Cuomo. I think he sat, and that is correct. When Chris Cuomo sat down with RFK and asked him, "Hey, why should we believe anything that Trump says?" Right? RFK, for the Make America Healthy Again, putting RFK in some sort of position where he can influence, the FDA, he can USDA somewhere that he can influence the health crisis that we have in America. I think RFK is right for one of those positions. I get it. People don't like what he said about his stance on vaccines or his certain preponderance of certain theories that he doesn't like. Right. Great. I got it. I think RFK would be great for one of those positions, especially USDA, FDA, somewhere where he can make real change as far as the health, angle goes. I would love to see Tulsi Gabbard in some sort of defense position. She obviously understands the military. I don't know if she's going to be the Secretary of Defense. I don't know if that's right for her. But as far as internal affairs, maybe somewhere in Sec State, somewhere, or in the Department of State, somewhere high ranking where she can actually use her geopolitical and her army experience over there, that would be super cool. Obviously, Elon in an efficiency department somewhere would be super great. RFK, to kind of finish my thought here, when Cuomo asked him why should we believe him, RFK was like, as soon as he said that he wanted me to do this, he was all in. He gave me stuff that I wasn't even asking for. Like Trump will just call RFK and be like, "Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this?" And RFK was taken aback by that. He was like, "Listen, I've been in politics my whole life. I know what it sounds like when people promise me positions in the cabinet or in the government. That's not what Trump's doing. He's really serious about this." And Trump said 2 things that were really interesting to me. Number one, when Joe Rogan asked him what was his biggest mistake, he was like, "Listen, I got in. I had this transition team that was essentially assigned to me. It was chock full of government people that I didn't like John Bolton and General Kelly and all these other people. And there was a bunch of government bureaucrats that I mistakenly hired because people told me I wasn't a politician. I'd never been president before." He's like, "I won't do that again." To that end, he actually started his own transition team that is funded by him. There are no, the government did not place any people inside of there. When you look at Vivek Ramaswamy, you talk about putting Vivek Ramaswamy anywhere he wants to go, but having him as the communications director or having him as the press secretary, get out of here. Can you imagine? Think about the difference between cringe John Pierre and Vivek Ramaswamy in that press room. Think about how he could carry forward that messaging. That's an amazing position for Vivek. I think that he's smart enough to get somewhere that's a little bit higher up and a little bit more consequential, but I think that's the easy home run ball for him. I think that there are some other people, obviously the Department of Government Efficiency, like Ron Paul, putting Ron Paul as the head of the SEC, putting him at the head of somewhere big. If he wants to end the Fed, make a new position for him and give him the authority to just start decimating these places. I'd like to see somebody that's in, I want to see Trump absolutely gut the FBI, the CIA, the intelligence complex that we know. 51 officials agreed that Trump colluded with the Russian. Those 51 officials, somebody should be holding the hammer and should be stripping them of their security clearances. Somebody should be stripping them of everything that they've earned. You look at Dr. Fauci. Look at the harm that Dr. Fauci has done to America, and he's still making $400,000 a year. He's the highest paid government employee, as a matter of fact. He'll make $400,000 a year for the rest of his life. I need somebody somewhere, and I don't know everybody that he's planning on putting there, but I think he's going to be smarter about it. So I don't know what person you had in mind for number one priority, dump it, Levine and Pete Buttigieg. My favorite thing about Pete Buttigieg is that you've never known the department or the Secretary of Transportation's name ever before him because he's so historically bad at it. Him and his husband bought a baby or two, and then he took
husband.
Yeah, so
that's that dude up in the
he was the mayor of Notre Dame. Where's Notre Dame? South Bend, Indiana. So he was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He somehow got placed in his position because he's a white gay dude. Him and his husband bought some babies, and then he took paternity leave for 6 months. What are we doing here?
Well, you didn't hear that men could have babies.
You take paternity leave to take care of your partner who just went through giving birth. You don't have one of those. You bought a baby. Like, this is my favorite thing too. While I'm ranting, the left will be so quick to be like, "Oh yeah, The Handmaid's Tale." The Handmaid's Tale. The plot of The Handmaid's Tale was rich elites that could no longer have children would co-opt fertile women to take their babies. That's exactly what Pete Buttigieg did. That's exactly what he did. I don't know how it is that they turn this on their head and they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be." Yeah, it's a Christian nationalist idea. No, it's not. Pete Buttigieg.
I haven't seen that show, by the way. I haven't.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good book. It was a better book, but the book, the book was basically way, way shorter. So I want to say by the time they got to season 2, so halfway through season 2, they had reached the end of the book. The book was actually a very interesting post-apocalyptic sort of thing, where basically this alt-right, they painted it as alt-right organization, terrorist organization, dirty bombed DC or nuke DC with the entire leadership of the American government in it. And then they essentially just took over America. And then they divided it up into districts, and then they did this whole thing. It's pretty crazy. But there you go. But Pete Buttigieg is historically terrible, but I hope he's out too. But I hope he just absolutely burns it to the ground, because there's not a single organization that's doing well. Like, name me a government organization that doesn't need replaced right now.
Though I think the CIA is the biggest one. The CIA and the FBI. But then again, man, like as a realist, I'm like, man, even if they put, for example, a RFK in charge of the CIA, one, he's got a fucking bone to pick, right? Because they fucking his family has been he's got reasons. I think Bobby Kennedy, his uncle and his dad got shot. I think that's a pretty good reason for wanting to gut the people that covered that up. But is he gonna be able to affect anything though, or is it still like the CIA is just so like, you know what I'm talking about, man? Like, it's so deep, like surface level. Is he just a fucking placeholder?
Yep. We're going to put some eyes on Georgia. Georgia leaning red, like Donald J. Trump, 60.3. Atlanta around Bucks County. We'll see how close this is. 65 for Kamala Harris. Atlanta and Buckhead. 82, of course, right around Atlanta there. But as we look, like all these other bigger cities, Columbus, Georgia, 83. It's a pretty solid one. 72 here. We'll see how the state votes right now. But Donald J. Trump, as we're looking.
Wyoming came in. What was that? 4. So which state has the biggest, like which blue states are we looking at? That's because it looks like all the reds coming in first, but then like California, for example, probably has how many electoral
54.
vote?
Yeah, 54 elections.
Yeah.
So the biggest one's
fucking blue.
Well, New York, California. Well, I'll tell you what, there was a stat the other day with early voting and Republicans. And the counties in California, if you look at these counties too, like you think, oh, California's just deep blue, huh? They don't have any reporting up for Cali yet. They have early reporting numbers out and maps for Cali. That it's just not populated yet. They have early reporting numbers and maps for Cali. There was a distinct possibility that Cali could flip red. It was just a third of the remaining Republicans would have to come out and vote. And that's obviously like not going to happen. But there was a distinct possibility that Cali could have come out and flipped red. And that was just absolutely insane. And that's just to show you how many Republicans came out and voted early. And again, the things that the Republicans did not do, Republicans made 2 major missteps in 2020 and 2022. And it was Trump's fault in 2022. There was supposed to be a red wave, and he told people to not come out and vote in Georgia because he said it was rigged. And that fucked that entire election up, that entire Senate election up. And he owns that one. It was a terrible decision by him, bad political wrangling. In 2020, what we didn't do, the Republicans have this weird thing where you think you're like, I'm going to lean into how things used to be and how it is and be like, no, we're not ballot harvesting. We're not going to vote early. We're going to go the day of. Well, the Democrats exploited that, and that's how they won 2020. That's how they took the 2020 election, is because they were totally willing to have everybody come out and early and walk around to people's house and be like, hey, I noticed you have this ballot. Were you planning on voting here? Do you mind if I help you fill this out? And then I'll just take it and I'll just put it in. That's where the movie 2000 Mules came from. That's where this whole, election integrity thing came from that they've luckily learned from. But 2020 and 2022, the 2 missteps that they had, and the biggest reason that they're now doing better is they got rid of Romney McDaniel, which was the former head of the RNC, and replaced her with Laura Trump. Laura Trump is a firebrand. That chick is crazy good at what she does. And
any relationship or any relations to Donald Trump?
I don't believe so. Let me look it up.
Dude, Florida is
it's his daughter.
73%.
It's his daughter.
It's his daughter. Yeah, Laura Trump is his daughter. I was thinking about the other one.
73% reporting in Florida.
Yeah, there we go.
54%.
We'll look in the chat here. Is there any fun one here? Bureaucracy, thanks. Word is Washington might swing red. TB, I hope so. I don't know. Washington, as I said, like Washington's not a blue state.
Washington State?
Yeah, Tacoma and Seattle are Tacoma, Seattle, blue. And Olympia are blue. That's it. Everybody else, you get across those mountains and you go to the east side.
But there ain't nobody over there. That's the problem.
That's it.
You ain't got nobody over there.
Correct. I agree. California needs to be 2 or 3 different states. Same with Oregon. I hope they vote to split up. They're actually, Kyle, that's great input. I like that.
California's been talking about being 3 states.
That shit would never happen.
No. I mean, it's not that big a deal, really. Like they talked about it. Like you'd have SoCal, you'd have Frisco in the middle, and then you'd have North. Like they've talked about it. They've talked about it a bunch.
Yeah.
And really what they really want is the Inland Empire to be its own state with NorCal. And then you just have 2 pockets. Like you'd have LA South and you'd have LA North to Frisco would be 2 states.
Right. Yeah. I agree on that one there. Let's see some other ones.
Make one of those states for just fucking soft dudes, right? Just soft operators.
No. We got that state. It's called Texas, my dude.
It's called, I was gonna say, yeah. Do you mean Texas?
Texas. Come on down.
Do you mean Texas and Florida?
Come on down here.
Oh shit, dude! I've
been to 40 acres
and
a mule.
It looks just like North Carolina. Like Dallas, where I flew in. Dallas.
Oh yeah, it's the same. It's roughly the same.
Yeah.
Not quite. Yeah, it gets hotter in Dallas in the summer. Not quite as humid, but it's the same state basically.
Yeah. Good times. All right, 32 still. So which states are you anticipating going blue for sure, Aaron? You got most of the West Coast, so California, fucking Washington.
Cali, Oregon, Washington. Yeah, until those 3, turn otherwise. I think Cali, Oregon, Washington. I think Colorado is probably going to stay blue. It's typically a pretty blue state. I think you're looking at the same red wall. So I think, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, those are all bright red. So as we keep going east here, I think Wisconsin is a toss-up. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota are a toss-up. I think we can take Michigan. I think at this point, the Arab vote in Dearborn coming out, I think Michigan is in serious trouble. I don't know about Minnesota. I think it's just too deep blue. When you start looking at the southeastern part, Georgia's a real toss-up, although it is leading red. North Carolina, Virginia are two problems, and then the eastern seaboard states, man. If Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, all these other places that are eastern seaboard, around, Maryland, all these folks that are around DC, people that live in there but are working in the DC capital region, those things are all super duper hard to win and have, strong support in there. So, and that's why Kamala Harris did that, one of her final rallies in DC as opposed to a battleground state, because she's a terrible empty suit and she needed to go somewhere where she was comfortable. So she didn't go to somewhere where she could have gotten heckled off stage, or where she could have had to, atone for her stance on the Gaza and Israel stuff. She actually got caught in Pennsylvania saying one thing about the Gaza-Israel conflict, and in Michigan saying another thing. Like the 2 different commercials, CNN even called her out. It's crazy. So those states I think are going.
Is there any chance, like after we had that earlier conversation about New York, is there any chance of it turning red? Like if it turns red, then we know the country is getting ready to have a problem, right? Like if it goes red, he's winning. Is that a fair statement?
I think it is. Like, as we look right now, I don't know how much early. They don't have any early reporting in, so they don't have any real time either. I'll tell you what. Like, Benny Johnson got on earlier, and Benny Johnson was talking about, and this kind of like goes to the, to that silent women vote. Those holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. But he said he was standing in line and he was listening. Let's see, Jacob from Kalamazoo, Michigan. They have signs that say Kalamazoo here. LOL. So as Benny Johnson was standing in line, he was kind of standing amongst a whole bunch of, what he perceived to be liberal white women, younger chicks. And, he was like, oh yeah, make America great again, or make America great again. And they were like, yeah, 100%. And he was like, wait, what? And they were like, it's too dangerous here. The migrants are crushing us. The taxes are crushing us. You seeing Eric Adams get red pilled. So like to see their early voting, New York was one of those states that I was mentioning earlier. Their early voting bottomed out for Dems. it's supposed to go in a manner which is like sort of like up. I'll try to find some more graphs or a chart on it or something. But the early voting in New York, people are paid. Even CNN was like, dude, those numbers are abysmal. They use the words like bottoming out and cratering to talk about the early voting from Democrats. Democrats need to build this huge, it's the way that they've done it forever. If they don't build a huge early voting and absentee or a mail-in ballot lead, Republicans vote day up. If you have people that are livid, if you look at those exit polling and you believe that America is pissed off and this is a referendum against everybody that they think is bad for America, New York's in trouble. That's why Trump campaigned there, dude. Trump campaigned there a bunch. He campaigned all of these Eastern Seaboard states, and people made fun of him when he first did it. Like, why are you going to Pennsylvania? You're not winning Pennsylvania. Why are you going to New York? You're not winning New York. Well, now as you look at it, it has the distinct possibility. Do I think it's likely? I don't know. I would hate to call it. I mean, I guess I could say, yes, it's a coin flip, maybe. And I could sound like a genius for being right. Would I bet my life on it? Would I go to Polymarket right now and bet that New York flips red? Fuck no, I wouldn't. But man, it can happen. It just depends on how mad the question is. And I'll quote Dan Bongino is, is it bad enough yet? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And you have to put your mind in the American voter's mind. Is it bad enough yet? Is the woke ideology shit? Is that bad enough yet? Is inflation bad enough yet? Are these wars bad enough yet? We just sent another $437 million the same day as Hurricane Helene strikers. The linemen went on strike because they hadn't been paid by FEMA. The same day we sent $437 million to Ukraine. Is it bad enough yet? And I'll tell you what, if enough people come in New York and go, oh, whatever. Yo, Jill Stein won a country in South Carolina. Awesome. Wasted it. Libertarians.
The folks want to know where Ben is. Does anybody know where Ben is?
No,
come on, man.
I won't say.
Listen. Let me tell you something. I'm going to go hunt for him, okay? But we know damn well that's that middle-aged, 25 to 45 at-home mom reading romance books is looking for Ben. We know who it is. Hey,
just because her name is Emma in the chat doesn't mean that it's actually a chick, all right? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
That's either way,
that's true.
Ben did text and said he can't make it tonight, but he'll be on Friday.
Hey, let me say this, man. If Trump wins and interest rates go down below, let's say 4.5 again.
Oh, I'm buying the block.
And my real estate portfolio doubles overnight.
Right.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to just be happy. Like, I'm going to be happy. Me and Jay were talking about real estate earlier. Like, there's some things that happen that in life you can't control, but you're really happy they happen.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I think Florida's a wrap, man. Like, there's no way Florida changes because it looks like, 78% reporting, and it's still leaning towards Donald Trump.
He won by barely 1 point. Like, I'm telling you, DeSantis won by barely 1 point the first time that Trump, when they were in the primary, Trump used to tout it all the time. DeSantis went to him and was like, hey, can I get your endorsement? It helped him win by 1 percentage point. He won by 30 the next election. Florida, and they've only gotten more. DeSantis was talking about it. He was on Rubin's podcast, the Rubin Report. And DeSantis was saying before they didn't have that much of a margin. It was a bunch of Democrats, that lived in kind of some of those bigger cities that we talked about. And then, Republicans that would live in the other parts of Florida, but the Republican advantage was in the hundreds of thousands. It's more than 1 million plus now. And every single one of those people vote. So while Miami-Dade, Tallahassee, some part, Orlando, those countries that are right around, or the counties that are right around those big cities, yeah, they still vote blue. Man, it's not close.
Hey, so let me ask this. Like, I know you said it, Aaron. I know you said he's lining up the cabinet, Trump, all the craziness.
Mm-hmm.
After what's happened with the legal system and like all of the shenanigans over the last couple of years, and now we're dealing with some assassination attempts. Does he make it to inauguration if he wins?
I have to believe you just hide, dude. I mean, it's going to be a very unstable time. And this is a funny thing about the right and the left, The right, typically there's a trigger and they do things that are super stupid, right? Like January 6th was a bad look. It was a riot. It didn't even interrupt everybody that makes it out to be worse than Pearl Harbor and speaks hyperbolically about January 6th. It was a 3-hour disruption. Everything got certified. Everything's fine. There was no coup, like all this other stuff, right? Like the right tends to do that stupid stuff. The left, though, they organize in black. Like Portland is a war zone. Portland's had $2 billion worth of damage over the course of all their stuff. Federal buildings burned to the ground and people dying and all this other stuff. That's what you have to worry about, is this organized black bloc violence, really, from Antifa and the organized left. I think that in the wake, especially if it's a landslide, right? If it's a landslide and, you know, there's some way, like we already have seen, they're sowing the ground for, oh, it's Russian disinformation is the latest psyop. They're like, oh, they're Russian disinformation is helping them get all these poll numbers on, all this other nonsense. I think it's going to be a very unstable time from November to January until he gets inaugurated. If he can get through that unstable time, and if we have a president that would actually show up that hasn't done anything in 5 months, I don't know where Joe Biden's been, but we've been operating without a president since really June. You know, we'll see how it goes there. I think that he makes it there because I think once he makes it, you know, all bets are off. If he doesn't, he's going to jail. He's done a good job of like the 34 count. He's supposed to be getting sentenced for the single misdemeanor that they bootstrapped to 34 felonies using an obscure New York campaign finance malfeasance law, which I've talked about at length. But if he loses, he's going to jail. If he loses, they're going to target Elon Musk. Like when Elon Musk says that, hey, you know, this is the last election and, you know, a lot of people are going down. I think that's more dangerous than anything else. I think, you know, the real dangerous thing here is if he loses, he goes to jail 100%.
You cannot like put down the fact that my man's a gambler.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He'll come back from bankruptcy.
100%.
This is like hey man, that dude's sitting at the table. He got all his chips pushed in. And, you know, he's playing for his life because I'm going to tell you this. When he show up at that prison,
right.
And you know they ain't going to let him go to minimum security day house. You know they going to send him to Rikers to start with just so he can get tuned up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. They want it. They want it. Yeah.
Florida, so Trump is leading, what, 700,000 votes in Florida? Is that what Aaron Takelove just said?
Yeah. Yeah. So total in Florida right now, if we pull it up here, 54,000 general election, up 700,000 votes.
So what would cause that to change? Has Dade County been called yet, or is it still being calculated? Because Dade County, I'm sure, well, that's one of the biggest counties, right? So that can easily change things if, for whatever reason, the blue votes start coming in.
Yeah, so 64% reported all over the state. I don't know. It doesn't give me on 270 to win here. It doesn't give the actual like amount reported there. Let me see if I can find.
So, hey, Aaron, while you're looking for that, someone asked me.
You got a couple of questions. In the,
okay.
Yeah,
Jake,
if Trump
you got
wins,
a couple of questions over there.
Oh, wait, you can see my chat?
No. Like on the War Room chat, there's a couple of questions for you on there.
I didn't see those. Oh, okay. I got a question over on mine that just says, hey, if Trump wins, will he get revenge on minorities? I was working on a minority program right before Trump lost the last election. He was going to give us a massive amount of money to do some incredible things in America. So I've never been one to actually believe what comes out of his mouth on how he feels about minorities. I just think he says some crazy shit sometimes. I'm guilty of it all the time. So I don't really think he got nothing against minorities, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the only thing that I have to say, you know, in refutation that Trump is a racist is his entire body of work prior to now. Like you can't come up with one actual example of him being an actual racist that hasn't been debunked anywhere, to include his first presidential term. Like you guys forget, but he had Kim Kardashian to the White House to talk about commuting sentences and getting people out of jail, which Barack Obama did not do for 12 years prior. Like that's a pretty, I'll tell you what, if he is racist, that's a pretty 7D chess play move to be racist, to do all of those things. Like, you know, when you want to talk about who the true racists are, Kamala Harris actually put forth like 3 racist proposals within a week, saying that she was going to give free loans to black men to invest in weed and crypto. Like if that isn't the most stereotypically, and by the way, it's constitutionally illegal to do that. You cannot have government grants based off of race. So she actually had to bring that back. So
why'd you have to bring up fucking Kim Kardashian, man? Like really? Now I'm having
hey, listen.
I know, right?
Flashbacks.
I know, right?
Before she got all that work done, she was halfway decent, Jay. Hey, Jay, I can't see any of the questions. So if you can, I don't know what.
One of them was there was a guy thanking you for the Jeff Nichols video, and then he had a question about his swim. Which, like, guys, if you have questions, like, we don't mind jumping.
No, just his bro.
Yeah,
like,
Jerry, thanks very much. It's 80% reporting in Miami-Dade, according to 270 to win.
Hey, obviously, all 3 of us got our own channels. We all murdering it out there. If you got any questions, man, I'm the easiest person in the world to find. Just shoot me an email, man. You know, if you want the PDF, just ask for the PDF. My bot will send it back to you. So if you got a question about swimming, I'm just gonna have you send me a video of you swimming, and I'll look at it and I'll tell you the answer, bro.
Right.
Yeah. That's too easy. Yeah, I think that's what the question was. He wanted to know some about his swim, but just go over there and hit up Jake individually, and then
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're all
I'm
super.
Scrolling. Yeah, I'm scrolling and I can't find your question. Either repost it or just hit Jake up individually.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, Jay, they want you to turn your gain up a little bit.
On my mic.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's good.
You sound buttery good now. So as we get
don't
here
make don't make me put this trash bag back on.
5 minutes, we're gonna get 5 minutes, we're gonna get a whole lot more info here. So in 5 minutes, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna have Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, DC, Florida, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee. I'm excited to see the states like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, some of these other outliers. You know, we talk about the District of Columbia, Florida, see where they vote and see what it is that they look like. Those are all going to be extremely, extremely interesting to see. And then, shortly after that, Arkansas, and then we start getting a little bit further west. The 9 p.m. docket, I don't know if I'm going to be on at 9 p.m. at 6 p.m. here. The 9 p.m. docket is extremely interesting as well, because you got Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, Texas, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Those
Jake,
are
you see that?
a lot of states.
I see it.
Go.
I see it. Hey, real quick. So here's the deal. I was trying to figure out why there was so much noise coming out of Jeff Nichols for the last 2 months. And I figured it out last couple of days. Basically, Jeff Nichols was out there telling everybody that you had to run 70 to 75 miles on the PDF. And he was saying that Jake doesn't know what he's talking about, all this other stuff. The basic bottom line was Jeff Nichols is doing what he does. He's on a steroid rant and rage. He's just saying whatever he can because his program ain't working very well, because he only requires 20 miles at most running when you're going into a program that requires 75 miles a week. So that's where that came from. It's all Jeff Nichols, disinformation stuff. We're covering the election. Hey, listen, man, I'm going to tell you right now, it's 7:00 right now, and I feel like I'm going to be sitting right here until these states come in. But I'm like, yo, West Coast guy, we got like 3 hours for the West Coast, bro. We'll be up until it'd be a 5-hour live talking. We got to have some sidebars. Yeah, man, this is crazy, man. This I'm just gonna tell you, I'm 52. I done seen a lot of elections, and I feel like this election is like a really pivotal point in the country's like history. The other thing I'm gonna say is, like, I'll tell you, if JD Vance was running right now, I'm voting for him. And I feel like
talk about my boy from the OH. There was a time
from Ohio.
There was a time when people tried to tell me that JD Vance was a bad pick. Shout out again, Athletic Brewing. If y'all are sober like my dorky ass and you still like IPAs, go ahead, Athletic. They make the Free Wave Hazy IPA. It's non-alcoholic. Shit's fire. When they had JD Vance, people tried to tell me like, oh, JD is weird. Oh, he's not going to be good. That guy is a fucking murderer. Not only did he just vibe out with Theo Vaughn, where he's able to sit there and laugh. He sit down 3 hours for Joe Rogan. That guy graduated law school in 2 years. He was out of The Ohio State University in 3. He started his own tech investment company. Then he gets into the Senate, and less than a couple years later, 3 years total, he's the vice president, and look what he has done. He is able to, he carried Trump's Make America Great Again message. He carried that forward in such a polished way that it took, like, Trump was just allowed to be Trump and go do this because you're like, oh no, JD's got it. Who do you want? Like, these votes are not Valentine's, right? It's who would run the country. So when Kamala Harris has some sort of weird thing where she can't run the country, you want Tim Walz running the country? The guy that's been to China 30 times and was having sex with a CCP operative for years? That's who you want running the... Oh, yeah, it's verified. He had
Please elaborate. While he was married?
Oh, not while he was married. So Tim Walz, he went to China 30 times, and people were like, wow, that's super weird. He went there as an invited guest of the Chinese Communist Party for a bunch of times. And the joke was like, why did you go there 30 times? No, I have never been anywhere 30 times. Like, people that live in America haven't been to Vegas 30 times. People that love Vegas. The only people that have been there that many times are Disney adults going to Disney. And those people are weird as fuck. If you're a Disney adult, holy shit, you are a weird fucking creature. But anyway, people were like, oh, why? Well, it comes out, it breaks. The chick that he was having an affair with, they weren't allowed to publicize anything. And if her parents found out about it or saw anything publicly, it'd be a thing. He basically dropped her because he was like, you want a green card, when she was trying to push him like, hey, let's get married and whatever else. This all dropped. And by the way, it's the same family for Fang Fang, who is a Chinese spy, ended up sleeping with Eric Swalwell, which people totally forget about because he's on the left. Eric Swalwell got honeypotted by the same family that Tim Walz dated. A CCP
Could you tell the people what honeypot means?
So
military folks out there.
Sorry, so it's a manipulation technique. If you're trying to develop a human source, there's a couple different ways. One of the commonly accepted terms is a honeypot, which is where you put, it's just like something sweet, typically a female. Now, I can't verify if Tim Walz is straight or gay. I cannot verify. Allegedly, there's some questions there, not from me, but from smart people. So he was tempted with a little Chinese honey, and he had an ongoing affair of years that was just verified by the person that did it with him. That's why he visited China 30 times and did so on the dime of the Chinese Communist Party. So do you want that guy running America? Like, is that our guy? Like, I don't think so. Kamala Harris said that she was sleep deprived when she picked Tim Walz, and he was her 10th pick. 10th.
So I want everybody to hear this. In the Asian cultures, honeypotting is a known form of business tactic. So they have companies, like in Japan, it's really bad. They have companies like it's one of the things we learned about in business school. It's pretty interesting. They had a cultural class, and they were talking about it. Like, look, if you go to Japan to do a negotiation, some cute woman is gonna, between Washington, wherever you're leaving from, and Japan, there's going to be somebody that's so far out of your league is going to find interest in you, and it's a setup. And so I just thought that was, we don't really do that much in America. We do it, but not like officially, like that's a known way to get people.
Yeah, right. I was about to say we do it when foreign political folks come visit our. Because again, like let's be clear about this. Like everybody does it as far as on the political side and the spy arena, right? We do it to each other.
You'd be stupid not to.
Oh, absolutely. But it's a thing, and I've seen some military dudes get rolled up in that shit too, right? So yeah, that's a known tactic used.
Yeah. Jerry Crouch, have you seen Candace Owens putting out information about Kamala Harris family tree and the receipts? Yeah, everybody voting for her has been lied to, and they just believe it. I'm from a middle-class family. No, you're not. Both your parents were professors at Berkeley. You grew up your formative years in Canada. She makes it seem like she grew up, in Oakland and then went to Howard. That's not what happened. She left America. Her parents had to declare at that time $10,000 cash crossing from America into Canada, where she lived from the time she was 4 until she was 17. In Canada, both of her parents were professors at liberal universities. Okay. She was not from the middle class. She did not grow up in America as some poor middle class kid. $10,000 at the time they had to declare to cross the border is like $125,000 in today's money. Like, it's just a lie. It's a blatant lie. All these things she says. She's an empty suit. You can see it. My favorite thing from the day was when she was pretending to be on the phone, and she turns out she's like, yeah, and it was on her camera. You can see blatantly she was faking a phone call because she thinks you're stupid. And we still have people that are like, oh yeah, vote for it because I don't like the orange guy. Like, what a fucking dopey thing for you to say.
She's just so out of touch,
right, with
just norm, like social norms, speaking, like the shit that she does. I'm like, golly, like how could you be so dumb? But whatever. Yeah. That's not here or there. But yeah,
it is not.
All right, what else we got in the chat as far as question?
Didn't Walz lie about being SF? No, he didn't lie about being SF. He lied about being everything else. Yeah, he was just flexing a SF hat because that's what SF bunnies do, dude. You wear the black shorts, you wear the hats. You were never a part of the team. It just is what it is. That's how you get down.
All right, what else we got?
Okay, 5 minutes here, or let's see. Polls have closed on the East Coast, so we're going to start seeing these things run in. Florida's declared. Florida for Trump.
Dude, I knew Florida was going to go. Florida went last year. 4 years ago, Florida went blue, correct? Because it was one of the battleground states.
No, it's before that. Yeah,
Okay.
after 2002, so I believe the 2006 election, it might have been blue. I'd have to look that up for sure. So 2006, or no, it'd be 2008, and then 2012. I believe both of those times was close enough to blue because I think it went blue for Obama. However, 2002 it definitely was red because that's where George Bush won the election over Al Gore.
Gotcha, dude. So with Florida going blue, Pennsylvania, you think it's going to come down to Pennsylvania and New York?
I think for early indicating, right? Like if we're talking like no kidding, how sure am I that Trump is going to win? If you see freaking Pennsylvania go red, if you see Pennsylvania go like with some sort of big margin, or because again, I don't think they're going to report everything tonight. It's going to be the exact same way. Philly is going to go take forever to count their ballots. Pennsylvania is going to count for the Secretary of State in Pennsylvania already said that you could expect a long delay because it takes so long to count, right? And this is the same thing that happened in Philly with water mains breaking. And again, the Republicans have done a good job of getting poll watchers there and trying to get people that are putting eyes on all of these people. They've done a big social media campaign as well. They're like, listen, if they tell you to get out of line, if they tell you that you can't vote, if you see something that's going wrong, dude, put it on Twitter, tag us, and they're getting lawyers there right away. Like there are people on call in the city that are going to these locations. That already happened in two counties today. The voting machines went down, and within an hour, they had people there that were already filing suit, and then now those locations have to stay open until 10 p.m. as opposed to closing at the 7 p.m. that they were supposed, or the 5 p.m. that they were supposed to close because they got it. So I think they're trying, especially in Pennsylvania, to cut down on what they perceive as malfeasance. But it's going to take long. I don't think we're going to know Pennsylvania tonight, no matter how late you stay up. I think, though, if Pennsylvania goes red, bro, that's it. Like if Pennsylvania goes red, there are bright blinking warning signs for the entire rest of the country. Every other battleground state is in like places like Nevada. Great. That's it's a bulwark that it turns, but it's only like 6 votes. Arizona right now is way ahead in early voting. Obviously Texas is going to probably be red in the center of the country, but man, I'm telling you, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, those 3 right now, those 3 for me are very, very interesting.
All so right, Aaron, I feel like Jay, I got 1,000 questions for Aaron because I feel like we got like a political analyst on here, like a superstar political analyst.
What's this Chrome election result tab, Jake? Before we jump into it,
no. So
someone how the counties vote.
Yeah. Someone sent that to me. Aaron, look in the group chat.
Got it.
And they said if he puts an extension on, the screen will update by itself. But I didn't know. I just sent it to Aaron.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn! A shit ton of states just got called. All right.
Damn! This is so awesome, bro. We like sitting in the war room calling a presidential election. Hey, man, it ain't very often that your boy the caveman feel like he actually doing some historical stuff, bro. Mm-hmm. You know, I could be in the backyard watching the fire right now, watching caveman TV, and I'm out here. Dog, this is, so Aaron, real quick, I had a question, man. Let's say we get Pennsylvania and New York and they go red, and it is the tsunami that you're saying from a country standpoint.
Yep.
Like give me something for the dude that just got off his 9-to-5 job, slinging trash cans behind the trash truck. What can he expect to change? Let's say March of next year. When do you think the change is going to happen, and when do you think? Like, what do you think?
It's going to be January 7th. So the first thing that you can expect to see is border restrictions and this flow of illegal immigrants across the border. Everybody wants to talk about deporting people and all this other stuff, and then how are you going to get about? It's going to cost X about $1 billion. Shut up. So he's going to close the border. That's number one. Number two, we're going to shore up this international trade situation, and he'll probably do it via executive action with tariffs. Now, tariffs. Economically, when you look at tariffs, right? So basically what you're doing with a tariff is you're going to charge manufacturers to bring their goods in the country. Well, the manufacturers then, in order to sell them in their country, they're just going to jack the prices up, which makes the American consumer pay more. That's true if you're retarded. The reason that you put tariffs on another place is right now there's a Chinese company building a super car factory in Mexico. Trump said, and I quote, "I'm going to put 1,000% tariff on every single car that comes in from that factory." Even him floating that idea, you know what they did? They stopped building the factory because no American's going to buy that. You use that as a way to influence people to make them pay a fair wage across the international trade things. You don't put tariffs on somebody to generate money for America. That's people creating a straw man for what tariffs Trump is going to use. Trump is using tariffs to put economic pressure. Remember dime fill, diplomatic, informational, military, economic, all of these things as ways to put pressure on other countries, using tariffs to stop people from doing that, to stop China from exporting goods and services and making people bring their things here. You know what would be great? If we could get more chip factories in America. You know how you do that? You put 1,000% tariff on somebody that imports those chips into America. And then they go, I don't want to pay the tariff. He goes, build your shit in America. That's how you bring business into America. That naturally does a whole lot of good. I think those are two things that he said he's going to do right away. And then the third is energy. Energy is the key to everything. They've talked about this at every single rally. JD Vance talks about it at every single rally. Every single rally, they talk about energy independence because energy affects everything. Energy, gas, oil, coal, natural gas. That's how we make plastics. It's how we transport food. It's how we heat and cool our homes. It's how we power our industry. It's how we do everything. The second that you unleash American drilling, he said it before, drill, baby, drill. You unleash American independence and those inflation rates, those things that we're working with right now. He was so close to having a surplus before COVID hit. We could taste it. It's because we were energy independent. That's completely within his purview. And we know it is because that was part of Biden's 91 executive actions that he took on day one, was reversing Trump's actions on drilling inside of America and energy independence, which we had before that. We're the number one exporter of oil in the world. Our oil reserves right now are zero. Biden and his administration, Kamala Harris included, bottomed out our petroleum reserves. They ruined our relationship with Saudi Arabia. They ruined our relationship with that's where BRICS came from. That's why people are trying to get off the petrodollar now, and they're trying to go back to a gold standard, and everybody's freaking out about it because Brazil, Russia, India, China, Saudi Arabia are considering moving away from the petrodollar. Those three things right there that he's promised to do, he could do by executive action. He could do it day one. Day one, constitutionally protected action for the president of the United States of America, close the border. He said he's already got away. Donald Trump is a peace through strength guy. He tells a very funny story about, Vlad. And he was like, Vlad, don't do it, Vlad. If you do this, Vlad, I'll bomb you. I'll bomb the shit out of you. And Vlad was like, Mr. President, you're not going to do that. He goes, but I might. Very famously, Nixon, that's the madman theory of international negotiation. You never knew what Nixon was going to do, and it works to your thing. When you sit down with a foreign dignitary and you tell them right before chocolate cake, you look at him and you go, oh, hey, bud, I just launched a shit ton of cruise missiles and I killed everybody in that town. And if you keep fucking with us, you're next. I'll send him to Beijing. I'll send him to Russia. You will see Moscow up in flames. And if you're not sure that he would do it or not, it was right after he killed Soleimani. He was like, oh, yeah, I just schwacked Soleimani. If you keep fucking with me, I'm going to do it to you, too. If you can't say whether he's going to do that or not, that is a great deterrent. So when you wield that sort of authority, things like the Ukraine-Russia war finally has a negotiated off-ramp. How long have we been fighting this war with nobody with a negotiated off-ramp? Like, Ukraine is not taking back the Donbass. Ukraine is not taking back Donetsk. They're not taking back any of these things that they've already lost. That is a foregone conclusion. Like, saying that they're going to take this back and regain all their territory, that's retarded. That's not happening, right? And also, Russia isn't going to invade Ukraine and take over Ukraine totally because their war machine is just absolutely decimated at this point. There needs to be a negotiated off-ramp.
Have you seen the trains with their 1955 tanks coming off of them?
That's what they've had. They've had to cannibalize equipment that was in the boneyard.
Yeah, bro. Hey, real quick, I want to send a shout out to Claudia over on my channel. But I want to tell all this 150 people that we got on my live, please come over to the war room. Like, this is our action. Like, just tonight we're covering the presidential race, but we're on live on Friday and we're getting after it, talking about mainly stuff that happens in the military. But every now and then Jay will wear a dress to the meeting and we'll have to talk about wokeness and some other stuff. So, hey, if you over on my live, come on over, man. Come on over. Go ahead, Jay.
So Aaron, if you don't mind, we'll go through some of these states, and you can just talk about where you see them leaning, especially some of the biggest state out there with the biggest electoral votes, right? For example, Ohio. Where do you see that state going?
Man, Ohio's going red. The counties in Ohio, and it's funny because Ohio, I grew up in Ohio. Like, I grew up in these counties that just voted blue, like Summit County, Akron, Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati. All of these counties are going to vote blue. So like Summit County, which is where Akron is, just south of Cleveland. So Cleveland voted about 71%. Kamala Harris only got 53% blue, just east of Cleveland or west of Cleveland. Everything's pretty close, 50.1%, 45. Every place that doesn't have, you might see Toledo, Lucas County, you might see Toledo vote blue. Dayton voted blue. Cincinnati voted blue. Everywhere else is voting red. Ohio, I mean, very famously, Dave Chappelle talked about the Dusty Whites coming out in Ohio, where he went. That's how they won the 2016 election. That JD Vance is from Ohio. Everybody that does not live in one of these big city centers is going to, if Ohio went blue, I'd be fucking shocked. And I think Sherrod Brown loses his seat in Ohio as well. So for that one, I'm definitely thinking whatever. Trump's up 105 right now, Florida, South Carolina. We're going to see what's going on in Georgia. If we vote for Georgia right now, which is super interesting too, Trump up 54 to 44 in there. It looks like we got about 43% estimated reporting. The forecast is, up to 12 to 14 points. They're going to take this. And it looks really good. Earl Carter won there. Brian Jack. We've got split seats that are going. Austin Scott won his electional seat. So we'll see what happens in Georgia. I think Georgia goes red. I think that's going to be a big one. Georgia was close to going red. Trump, again, total mistake. Total mistake. Of course, like Herschel Walker was the world's worst candidate in 2022. I don't know what we were doing.
Yo, did you watch any of Herschel Walker's commercials?
I watched all of them. It was so bad. I was like, what are we doing?
Dude,
what are we doing? Like Kerry
Herschel
Lake in Arizona was kind of the same, like terrible candidate. Like, what are we doing? Let
me just make sure I'm not crazy. Herschel Walker was running on the Republican ticket.
Yeah.
Trying to be a white Republican, yet he was an NFL running back. And he could not have been any stiffer.
Oh man.
Yes. Like I'm from Britain and I ran the Queen's horses and
right.
Yeah, bro, that was a bad lick. Like now I will say this: if they had Ricky Williams running Texas, he gonna win. But I know there's gonna be an argument about Texas and Georgia football, all that mess. I'm just telling you, Ricky out of his mind, he might win in Texas, okay? But Herschel Walker ain't winning in Georgia, bro. Like,
right. Yeah. So, and that was the other thing too, is like Donald Trump came out and was like, oh, they're trying to steal it. Your vote doesn't count. Like, don't go vote. He said it straight up. There was supposed to be that red wave that everybody was waiting for in 2022. And Donald Trump shot himself in the foot over that one. It's a terrible political move. And it's terrible, just a terrible job in total about all of that stuff. So, as we look at Georgia, I'd be interested to see what happens in Georgia. Kind of some of these other bigger states, like Pennsylvania is going to be a big one. Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia. Those four that are closing polls right now are very close to it. I think one of those closes in like 15 minutes. Man, as we see reporting come in there, one of those, I'm telling you, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, yo.
Dude, I think North Carolina is going to be red, man, especially after Hurricane Helene came through and the lack of response and all the time Donald came down here. Yeah. Like right now, Western North Carolina is leaning heavily red, which is where the hurricane destroyed it. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, DC,
red.
Yeah, DC, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Maryland. All
Hawaii, really? Hawaii's a blue.
Yeah, Hawaii is surprisingly liberal. Yeah.
Listen. No, there ain't nothing surprising about Hawaii.
Linda.
Them cats out there sitting on the beach eating coconuts and pineapples. Them cats is like, man, they ain't worried about shit. The fire came through and burned down their island. A rich dude bought the island. They're like, so what? Like, let's go to the beach. Let's surf. They ain't worried about it.
Michigan, is that typically a blue state?
It is.
Yeah, it's real blue. But you know, that's the home of the Middle Eastern pack. And them cats ain't real happy with what's going on in Palestine right now.
They're not, because and the other thing that's playing in here is it's not only the Arab vote and the consternation over Kamala Harris and her inability to really like say what she's going to do here. And again, she lied to the voters in Pennsylvania. She lied to the voters in Michigan. She said two completely separate things. About what she wanted to do there. But the other thing here is that Kamala Harris supports shit like the Green New Deal. She supports things like electric cars. That's not what you want to hear in Michigan. The unions hate Kamala Harris. They absolutely despise Kamala Harris, and they have a lot of sway in Michigan and some of these other Rust Belt states. Like if she loses one or two of those, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Rust Belt states, you're in trouble. You are in trouble.
How about Texas? Where's Texas leaning, Jake?
Come on, man. Texas is red. Ain't
Come
nobody
on,
voting
man.
it. Come on, man. Like, you know what's crazy though? I'll tell you this now. You want to know the number one campaign in Texas, and I love it. She bringing her shitty ass California politics to Texas.
Oh yeah.
He bringing his shitty ass California politics to Texas. They trying to Californianize Austin.
Yeah,
well,
don't
not Austin,
California my
already.
Texas.
But like in San Antonio, like, oh my God, don't let nobody from California try to run. They gonna get their heads blown off. They trying to. Next thing you know, we're gonna be San Francisco. Look, you see all the problems in San Francisco. And then all the old folks come out and they vote in red. Like,
oh yeah,
ain't no way Texas gonna do anything. If Texas don't go red, we're gonna succeed from the Union and become the Republic of Texas.
You guys already were. It took you a long time to come back.
Yeah, y'all. I am becoming a Texan, bro. Like I tell people, like, man,
born again Texan, baby.
Man,
when did you move to Texas, Jake?
So I moved the first time in 2011, and I was coaching football, man, and I'm gonna tell you, like, California got some athletes. They got 40 million people. Like the South is gonna claim to have some athletes. Texas got the most football talent in the country, bro. Like and I know Florida's gonna argue whatever, but I'm just talking about. But the problem, the reason is every high school has college football players coaching like the kids. So like at North Shore, one of the best high schools in the state. The D-line coach played at Louisiana State. His assistant played at Texas A&M. They getting world-class coaching in Texas, bro. But
I'm gonna give some updates.
Update. Let's go, baby. We're Americans today.
This just broke on. This is just breaking on CNN right now. Jake Tapper is visibly stunned after seeing a massive swing of 20 points with independents from Biden in 2020 to Trump in 2024. They have projected Trump winning Georgia right now. These are exit polling that's come in. This is what I'm saying about the polling. When they're polling these independents and they're polling these Republicans, Democrats were 16 to 20% more likely to even answer these things. When pollsters are calling these independent voters, which by the way, they do a very small sample size and then extrapolate this over a huge thing. They were like, oh, who are you going to vote for? Independents and Republicans are just hanging up. They're like, I'm not dealing with you people. I am not dealing with you people at all. And this is what's happening. So Trump right now, 20-point swing from where Biden was in 2020.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at the article right now. After CNN political director Jake blah blah blah, independent voters in Georgia favor Trump by 54% to 43%. The anchor was shocked.
Yeah, so here's a funny meme
change
about Florida. Oh, wowzers. One state enacts ballot security measures and it turns from 50-50 to absurdly blood red. Gee willikers, what could we extrapolate about this?
Coming to you live from the CNN network war room. Jay, former Green Beret, Aaron, former PJ, myself, resident caveman. We'd just like to welcome you to our 2024 coverage of the presidential election. Unfortunately, we are all pretty biased in our choices, and so
we really
there's not a lot of love for your girl Kamala in here.
Yeah, it's not fair and balanced. If you want fair and balanced, go to MSNBC, dorks. This ain't it.
Yeah, like Jay might. If Ben was here, we might have got more middle of the road as a senior officer in the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
but like we don't play nothing in the middle of the road, so we're out here firing bullets. The red states are coming in.
Exit polls for Pennsylvania for independent voters. Trump +6, 50% to Harris is 44%. That's out of Pennsylvania.
Hey, I would just like to throw out the Aaron stat that I love to tell people. In 2020, when she was running on her own little ticket dime thing to be the representative of the Democratic Party, she got 3% of the vote.
She got 0%. She dropped out before her home state of California.
Oh, she dropped out. Okay, but
zero. She was polling at 0 when she ran for president. She dropped out before her home state, dog. Like imagine, like granted, I'm a fucking dork and I'm a nerd, but like if I was going for president, I would at least stay in to see if Ohio was going to back me because I came from Ohio. She's dropped out before California. She got She got exactly as many votes there as she did to get the presidential nomination, which is 0.
Hey man, let me tell y'all something. I love change. Like,
cute.
Sorry guys, I was gonna try to play this Jake Tapper.
I'm one of the few people that just love change in life, and I just feel like, man, when this cat hit this office, first of all, I can't wait for him to burn a bunch of people. Just burn them to the ground. Trump, if you're watching us, like, we're killing it, man. We're pulling for you. I need you to fix the ERC credit so we can all get paid our money with small businesses, bro. I was on a call that I need the ERC credit fixed. Let's go, baby.
Trump's odds on Polymarket is 69.20, 69,420. Nice. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I just want to hear what Jake Tapper has to say. How shocked he was. Like, I actually don't mind Jake.
Hey, let's laugh at the professionals.
Winning them by 11 points in these early exit poll results, 54% to 30%. Jake, 4 years ago, Joe Biden won independent voters in Georgia when he won the state by 9 points. So we've seen a swing of 20 points towards Trump in terms of the margin, from 9-point advantage 4 years ago with independents for Biden to now an 11-point advantage with independents for Trump in Georgia. Jake.
Wow. David Chalian. And Dana, that is really significant. We see some incremental changes here and there when it comes to young voters. She's doing slightly better. Non-college whites, he's doing slightly better. But that independent swing is wild.
It's a huge swing. And I just want to underscore what David said. It is a bigger percentage of the vote share. Last time around, it was 28% independents. I made up 28% of the Georgia vote. And now it is 30%. And I was right, 31%. And it is a total flip. It's a complete flip. Donald Trump is doing so much better with independents than Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden kind of ran away with independents 4 years ago. And of course, he won the state.
There you go, boys.
That's what panic looks like, folks. That's them not under again. And I'm telling you, this is the soft polling. These are things that they just they could not possibly. It's a little bit of hubris, right? Like, Democrats are always going to assume that black folks are going to vote for them, white women are going to vote for them, independent voters are going to be able to be swayed. Those independent voters that are on the sides, they don't want to engage in your stupid polling. When the MSM calls them, or when pollsters call them from some sort of political organization, they're just hanging the phone up. They're just like, I don't want to play your stupid game, and I'm not going to answer your stuff. And then exit polling like that, or, when they see these numbers, they're just like, oh, I can't believe it. Oh, we got a super chat. We got a super chat out there. Jay Lee, Camel Toe wins. Do you see the left staging riots to take our rights and possibly allow down a presidential transition? So I think what you're asking, Jay Lee, is, do I see the left staging riots? Yes, I do. I think everybody should be ready for that. The National Guard is mobilized, I think, in 12 states right now. The National Guard is in 12 states. Guess which way all of those states lean. I'll give you two guesses. The first one doesn't count. It's blue states. So that's number one. And then possibly slow down a presidential transition. No, I do not think so. Number one, I think the Civil War concerns in America, you forget how fat and lazy Americans are and how they'll be outraged for a 24-hour news cycle and then do nothing about it. The left does not have the legs for a protracted civil war. The swearing in on January 6th or 6th or 7th of this year is going to happen regardless. It doesn't happen in a public. It doesn't have to happen in a public ceremony. It doesn't have to happen anywhere. They'll hide Trump away and protect him in NORAD, and he can do press conferences as much as he wants from a very protected location until it is that he's ready to take office. I think, just like, again, it didn't happen January 6th, 2020. It was a terrible thing. It was bad optics. It was a bad decision by all those people. That was basically about it. It was a really stupid thing. Trump didn't incite it. It wasn't an insurrection. It wasn't a coup. It was some knuckleheads that went into the Capitol, and it didn't even stop us for 2.5 hours.
Aaron,
we certified the election afterwards. You guys are all being fucking babies.
Call a spade a spade. A dude took a shit on the Speaker of the House's desk.
So what you get?
That ain't an insurrection, bro. That's some frat boys doing dumb shit, right?
You're putting grandmas in jail over walking in between velvet ropes. Like, what are we talking about? Get out of here.
What are we talking about? What are we talking? Hey, I would like everybody on this live to just give us a little bit of appreciation. Did you hear that stiff ass board? Oh my God, Joe. Jake, what do you think?
Well,
This is real report. This is blue collar at its best right here. Coming to you live and direct from the war room, bringing fire, and we not holding no punches, man. Not holding no punches.
Speaking on shitting on people's deaths, if anything comes up, Aaron, just interrupt me. We had this fucking senior E8 at SWIG. He was in one of the MOS committees, and he had this civilian that he couldn't fucking stand. He had this GS civilian that he hated, right? One afternoon, he waits for the civilian to leave, and he took a plate, like a paper plate. He took a shit on the plate and hid it in the civilian's fucking like cabinet, like one of the like filing little desks or whatever.
Oh, that's so
and he
gross.
left for the fucking weekend because he's the last one out, right? So he leaves, he locks the doors, and this guy comes back to work on Monday morning, and he doesn't know what that smell is. I mean, like shit is pretty distinct. Like you know what shit smells like, right? And he's
Hold on,
looking
real
around.
quick. Juicy Thrax, like you have perpetuated one of the dumbest debunked conspiracy theories about January 6th. So now I'm gonna give you the attention you so desperately were seeking.
Oh man.
So one person got shot. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt was an Air Force veteran. She was shot through a barricade that she was not herself actively trying to get through. The person that shot her was the Capitol policeman that was never actually charged for that crime. He got away with it scot-free. He didn't even, she was not breaching. She was not attacking them. He unholstered his weapon, and from behind a barricade, there was a door, and then there were things in front of the door, and then there were protesters. He shot her in the neck through a window. That was the one person that died. Don't you dare disrespect a dead veteran's memory by lying about how she died for your own political motives. Grow up, Juicy Thrax. It's an easily Googleable thing. It's been debunked 100 times. Her name was Ashley Babbitt, and the only person that died there was, quote, one of the insurrectionists at the hands of an armed statist that was never prosecuted for her manslaughter, which is obviously what it was because he was not threatened. If you did that to another person, let's say that you were somewhere and protesters were trying to get in, and those protesters were from Antifa, and you as a right-wing guy shot through a barrier that was not being breached, you'd go to jail forever. They'd put you in jail forever, and that is the objective truth. So you can keep the lies and the misinformation to yourself, homeboy. Now go get your shine box.
Anyways, that's this plate of shit sitting in this dude's cabinet. So he comes back. He's like, man, what is that smell? And it took this dumb idiot like an entire fucking day looking for this shit to finally find it. And when he does, of course, he loses his mind. He goes into the senior E8's office. Senior E8, he's like, hey, did you put shit in my desk for the weekend? And he goes, yeah, I did. I can't fucking stand you. Yo, GS, it's impossible to get rid of GS employees, right? Like we all know how that is. So he's like, I just want you to fucking quit. I can't stand your ass.
Dude.
That shit was funny as fuck. I was like,
dude, we were at selection. I don't know why we all have poop stories. We were at selection, and we had one of the guys on our team. His girl lived in town, so his girl lived in San Antonio. So every weekend, it was like, as soon as training was over, he was out, and he would make a big deal about it, be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go, and she's gonna do, we're gonna, she's obviously like waiting for me, and she's living down here the entire time. She's gonna make me have fun at the chow hall. I'm gonna go have me a home cooked meal, and we're gonna go see it, like all this other shit. We're at selection, right? And he's like, I'm gonna go stay out in town, whatever. So the dudes got sick of it, and same thing. He left. One of my boys walked in, and in his shower just took a huge shit, turned his heat all the way up to like as high as it would go. And this is Texas, turned the heat up as high as it would go in his dorm room, and then turned the shower on hot just for like as long as it would go. And he just had it on forever. Plugged the drain a little bit. And then like once there was like water in his shower, dude, you could smell it outside the door. It was, thinking about it right now, it just gags. So he would come back, like he would literally get back to the dorms. If we had to go to chow at like 4:30, he would show up at 4. So he would walk in. It was hilarious. Like he walked in the door, he walked in like 2 feet and immediately walked back out. And we're all out in the hallway, like giddy little kids, like we're like watching. And he was like, you motherfuckers. I can't. He's like, what the fuck? It was disgusting.
Did he make it?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Wow. Because most of the time, them dudes going home on the weekends and shit, like hanging out with their woman.
He made it twice. I went through almost the entire pipeline with that guy. And then when I was an instructor at the schoolhouse, he decided to cross over, be an officer, and he made it through the officer pipeline. And he's an officer now. And that guy is just great.
Damn.
I know. Shout out to Dan. You got
Any
it, man.
updates, Aaron?
I'm looking. So we're still waiting on reporting. Georgia is reporting their early results right now. 54.9% Trump, 44% Harris. It's not that close. The larger counties around Atlanta haven't started reporting. So those things like DeKalb County, Newton County, Henry County, Spalding County, none of those folks are reporting. Some of the other bigger counties have reported. Richmond, all these things are kind of going down as they are. These deep red counties, I mean, you're talking about Habersham County, 82% Trump. Gilmer County, 80% Trump, 77% Trump, 85% Trump. A lot of these counties that are voting red are deep, 91% Trump in Brantley County. So, I mean, we're going to see, I'm telling you, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania in this early cast of voting. Right now, the forecast is looking like 226 for Harris, 230 for President Trump as Electoral College votes go. That's what it is.
How does that work though? Because they need what, 270?
You need 270 to win. That's just projections for right now. It's for everybody that hasn't closed out. That's everybody that is projected on the slate right now, not a full slate.
It looks like New Jersey came in, right? New Jersey went for, that's no surprise. New Jersey went for Harris, it looks like.
Yeah.
That's no surprise.
And these are projections.
But I tell you what, North Carolina's looking good for Trump, though.
Yo, it's a big day in American history, boys.
Well, let's see. So
there's Georgia.
I'll tell you what, New Jersey's only 20% reporting right now. So New Jersey, that's not a whole lot of reporting. And the counties that have been gone that are like next to Trenton. So there's Mercer County, Monmouth County. It's funny, all the history here. Monmouth County, Mercer and Monmouth were both generals in the Civil War, or I'm sorry, in the War for Independence. Mercer County or Monmouth County right now is 52% Trump. Just south of there, Ocean County is 64% reporting for Trump. And again, this is only 20% recording. So this is not in New Jersey, at least. This is nowhere near over. So we will see how it goes there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, brother. Did you see the news story about the dude that died during the Gaza Pier operations?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He died. Yeah.
Oh, we can see. Put it back on the screen. Geez, sorry. How about a please, motherfucker? I'm out here trying to help you.
Hey,
I got you. Here we go.
It's the interactive channel. You mess around on here, you got 3 dudes sending rounds down range.
There we go. Here we go. Sharing the screen. It's back up. It's back up. You guys can
I love,
check
dude,
that out.
Why do I feel like 4 years ago this map was identical and we went to sleep thinking that shit was gonna fucking work out, and we woke up just disappointed?
I was talking to one of my friends about this. I did not feel like this last time. I did not feel like Trump was going to walk away with it. I did not feel especially after the campaign that he ran, especially after the impeachments, especially with COVID. Going like, well, COVID wasn't in full swing. It was 2019. Yeah, especially with the mail-in ballots, especially the way that Biden, he just hid in his basement the entire campaign. Because all he had to do was be like, well, I'm not him, and he did COVID. And that's what he did the entire time. He didn't do literally anything. I did not go to sleep comfortable last time. I was talking to one of my friends that's way more, skeptical than I am. I am less skeptical than he is. I feel good about this. Like, this feels like it has momentum. This feels like it has things that people are not seeing appropriately. This feels like, and any of this stuff right now, you're like, I don't know, man, this feels different to me. Like, just seeing things on the ground and seeing how people are reacting, seeing the videos of the poll locations, seeing the early voting results. There's a lot of things here that I'm like, this feels different to me. Does it feel different to you, Jake?
Hey, man, let me tell you something. I'm 52. This feels monumental to me, man. Like this, I got to imagine this feels like cats landing on the moon back in the 60s, right? Like, everybody's watching the TV, listening to the radio, and they know like some monumental stuff is going down in America. I mean, like, most elections, man, you're like, okay, I'm gonna vote for somebody, whatever, right? Like Barack and whoever he was running against, and Bush and all that stuff. Like, yeah, it was important. But I feel like right now in America, man, golly, man, we got transvestites competing against women in sports, making them like making the women get dressed in the same locker room with a dude with a dick. Like, I just, like we at a point in America right now where, I mean, we need some heavy-handed dudes. Like you were saying, I'm fired up that Trump got a bunch of goons coming in here that ain't associated with the swamp that he wants to drain. So I'm just hoping, man. And then the other thing I'm gonna say, because I totally believe in, the CIA would get you. JFK, MLK, Malcolm X. Like, he got to stay alive long enough to make the change.
Yeah.
So
isn't it wild that the fact that the statement that you just made about dudes and cutting off their dicks, like, people find that offensive? Like, what fucking era are we living in to where we're having those type of conversations? You know what I mean? Like, never in my wildest imagination do I think that that's something that we would ever have to debate. It's fucking crazy.
Ever.
But yet, here we are. So, yeah. This is definitely, I think, one of those elections that we're all going to remember. Like, how when Barack got elected back in, was it 2008? It was monumental because he was the first minority president, and that went down in history. Like, I think this is going to be something similar to that. Like, literally the fate of the world, whether it's all the fucking wars that are going on, and the crazy thing is, because. And I'm sure it's the same with you, Jake. Like, we have, friends that are just Democratic by associate. Like, they just vote blue regardless. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You have 4 years of Donald Trump. Then you have 4 years of Joe Biden. Like, you can literally put them up on a chart and do the side-by-side comparison and see under Trump, economy was awesome. No fucking wars, right? Under Biden.
None. The
Economy
only
is
president.
horrible. Inflation's crazy. I'm like, so how could you make a decision that's still, like leaning like to the left after you see like a side by side, right? Like it's like you have the evidence right here in front of you, but yet you're choosing to ignore it and vote for another 4 years of the same shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, man.
And I don't even I don't consider myself a conservative, right? Like, I'm pretty wild out here. I'm a wild guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not conservative, okay? But my wife sent me a meme today, and it was a picture of Barack, right? And it just said, "Where is this guy at? Like, it said, where is this guy at? Why can't we get him?" And I was thinking to myself, like, God, like the guy can't argue with that. Like, can we just get like a normal, sane person to run? But now we got such polar opposites. You got everybody having a trigger, as Jamerson said, everybody having a trigger on these two candidates, right? Like, you like, oh, I'm gonna vote for her. Trigger, hell no, I'm vote for the crazy dude, right? And then the crazy dude people are like, oh man, I'm gonna vote for Trump, and they're like, man,
all I know is my pockets, my family was a lot better under Trump.
That's it.
That's all it comes down to.
There's
policies that affects my family.
There's 300. My line is children. There's $320,000, 320,000 missing children right now, thanks to the open border crisis that we have, that were sold into sex trafficking and sex slavery in this country and abroad. I refuse to stand by for that. I refuse to let you say, like, oh, my number one issue is abortion. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I want to avoid a whole bunch of other things, and I don't give a shit that you think your granddaughter should be able to kill some kids. That's not how it goes. We do have a super chat.
Dude,
guys,
how come I'm not seeing all these fucking super chats?
I don't know.
Listen, I can't see nothing, Jay. I can't see nothing. All I see, and I got to scroll down because my messages are going away, disappearing.
From Jacob Root. Jacob, thanks very much. It's your first super chat. We appreciate you very much. Guys, what are your thoughts on the deportation operation? We'll start with you, Jay.
Deportation operation. Hey, man, like I said, I came here as an immigrant legally, right? So if you're here illegally, fuck it. Like, why did I have to go through the right fucking process and you don't have to? So I support it 100%, man. Like, you're not a country if you don't have borders. You're not a country if you don't have security. Hell, look at what, Haiti and some of these other places around the world are going through. Right?
You're right.
In order to
look at Sweden. Look at how well it's working for Sweden. There's Somali gangs. Yeah.
Paris. Fucking
there
UK.
are Somali gangs fighting with hand grenades in Sweden right now, thanks to their open borders policy. What are we talking about?
Like, if if we don't take control of this shit, like we're gonna end up like one of those countries, man. Like everybody wants a piece of the American dream, but there's still a system and processes in place to make sure, like, one, when you come over here, you can no shit enjoy the American dream and not have to worry about your kids or your mom or people dying because illegal aliens and gangs and all that shit is doing fucked up shit. Like, yeah, I understand there's places in the world where people are having a hard time. Hell, I was one of those people, right? But I still had to get in line and wait for my turn to come to this country and enjoy myself, right? Like, if I did it, like, you guys can too. So yeah, once he's in office, if you're here legally, like, hey man, like, pack it up, go back to your country and come in the right way, right? That's my thought on that.
Right. Jake, what do you got?
Man, you know I'm coming with some bang bang. So I'm down here in Texas. Let me tell you something, okay? Two things. I think we should shoot people crossing the border, kill them right there. That'll stop the problem, okay? Hey, I'm just telling you, man, you want to come illegally into our country, we're killing you. Okay, we'll stop that crisis immediately. The second thing is, and I love what our dude's done down here, I think we should just keep putting them on buses, bruh. Like, and I know it kind of costs us some money, but we got like the 11th GDP in the world as a country. Okay, so just line buses up at the border. 55. Where you going? Washington State. Where you going? Oklahoma. Where you going? Montana. Just spread them out across the country, because I thought the biggest thing we did to open people's eyes is when we dropped all them cats off in Boston, bro. Them blue cats up in Boston lost their minds.
Chicago too. The citizens of Chicago are fucking pissed.
Dude, they took college kids out of a dorm to house illegal immigrants, and then they couldn't figure out how to get them back. I said, well, we need more of that. So, like, just let it go, man. Like, just, I mean, you set up a couple miniguns on the border, you won't have no problem.
It doesn't take that. That's good.
Couple of landmines.
It's good to turn.
No landmines. I want like real, like, oh shit. Let's go America, baby.
That is hilarious.
The funniest thing that I'm throwing out some fucking stories on it. The funniest thing I've ever heard over the radio, because you guys know, so when we're downrange, we're able to listen to the Taliban's comms, right? Our side A guy and our interpreters, like, we could hear them talking. The first time I experienced that shit, like, dude, I almost shit myself, because they were like, okay, we see the vehicles, we're gonna fuck them up now. And I'm like, what? But we could hear them speaking. And the first time, they heard the minigun, we got into a fight and we opened up with the minigun and we heard them on the radio. They were like, oh my God, that's the breath of Allah. We need to, they literally just killed a bunch of us. Stop shooting at him right now. And ever since then, like, we hear them on the radio whenever we go out. It's like they're looking through binos. They're like, oh, those are the bearded ones. They're the one with the beards. Do they have the breath of Allah? And yes, it's on their truck. Okay, don't shoot at them. Let them go by. That shit was funny as hell. So yeah, that minigun does fucking, it'll scare the shit out of some folks.
Yeah. Even better that AC 130 ride. Little Aaron's department. Let's run a couple AC with a full IR, so we know they're immigrants. We watch them come across the border, drop that 105 on them, little boom, 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 boom.
Boom, 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 boom. Man, that 40 drives nails too. You wanna actually drive a nail in them? Go ahead and get that 40. Listen, the deportation question, like, people get way too, like, dude, they committed a crime. What are we talking about? They're in the country illegally. What, like, it's like, it would be like saying something crazy. Like, you have a whole state where if you only steal $950 worth of something, you're not allowed to physically stop them before they walk out of a store and think that's good economic policy, which it isn't, which is why people are fleeing California.
We got to talk about this. Aaron. You just dropped the bomb. Did you see the store that priced everything at $951 and they give you a discount at the counter?
A discount. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Leave it to some Americans. We're going to figure out a way to win, baby, because this is America.
It is America. Yeah, but the deportation problem, like, people are like, oh my goodness, it's going to cost $87 million a year. So it would have cost a tenth of that to build the wall when we wanted to. If we would have just spent that $5 billion, we could have built the wall that would have stopped the illegal immigration problem. And it costs, like, I'll Google it to get an actual number so I don't get hit in the comments. The bill for this year's illegal immigrants was way more to house them, feed them, give them SNAP cards, let them roam free in New York City with $6,000 on an EBT card. That money costs us way more than it would to deport every single one of them, assuming there's only 10 to 12 million illegal immigrants, as opposed to some estimates, which think it's as high as 20. So, I mean, that's how I feel on it. It's way too hyperbolic. It's way too crazy. People talk about this, that, and the third. Like, they committed a crime, guys. Like, we're talking about criminal. We're not talking about immigrants. We're not talking about like folks like Jay and Jay's family. We're not talking about splitting up families. What we're talking about is people that crossed the border illegally and committed a crime. We want them to go because they committed a crime, and you can't do that. That's it.
All right,
Dude,
we
I
give them a
think
little
Georgia-
Chinese. We'll give them a little Chinese magic. That 17-cent sentence, right? Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I think Georgia's gonna go red, man. What do you think, Aaron?
It's close. It's 55-40. Let's see, 55-44 right now. 52-47 is what it's looking. Really close with some of those other counties around Atlanta that we're talking to with reporting. It's about 61%, so it's going to be close. I think it does go red, but who knows? We're going to have to see what it is that they do and how quickly they report. A lot of these counties that are out in the middle of nowhere, like a lot of these places that are reporting, like Donald J. Trump, there's 3 counties. So there's Coffee, Atkinson, Cinch that haven't reported anything. And they're bordered, every county that they're bordered by is like 80% plus. So there's some places that you can expect just to go blood red that just haven't reported. And most of the big counties in Georgia, around Atlanta, around Augusta, around Savannah, around Columbus, they've already reported. So if those blue pockets are contained, and these folks in all of these other counties, the last 40% of Georgia, huge possibility. Huge possibility that it'll.
So now, is there a path without Pennsylvania?
There is, yeah. So Trump can win Pennsylvania. He's just going to have to win some of these other states. Then, if you don't win Pennsylvania, you have to start talking about winning, Michigan. You have to start talking about sweeping the Sun Belt, going Arizona and Nevada. You have to talk about trying to steal somewhere.
North Carolina,
like Minnesota, North Carolina, right? So some of these other folks, Virginia, blue, projected to win. So let's look and see what this is here. It just popped up, 49.4% to 48.9% with 46% reporting. It did just pop up blue on the results, so we'll see how that one goes as well. We shall see.
Let's go. How long we staying on here tonight? We have 3 hours right now. I feel like I can
know.
sit here all night.
I cannot. I got to go here in probably like the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh shit! If you go, we got to go because we ain't got no. Hey, let's call it a win. Aaron's leaving. We good on politics.
Here we go.
We'll call it a 9 then.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
So Gage Matt with a super chat. What's y'all's opinion? This is a good one too, because this is a nice break. What's y'all's opinion on SIG winning all these contracts? How about replacing the M4 with the XM7? Pretty good question. I'll turn it over to you, Jay. Do you know? Do you care?
SIG's probably got some insider personnel in there, man. That's typically how that shit works.
Do you like SIG? Like, do you like shooting the SIG?
No, I'm not. Like, I'm a fan of the Glocks. I don't like SIG at all. But again, they probably have somebody within that circle that's pushing contracts their way. All right. So I'm no longer in, so I don't have a bone in that fight. Like, typically, for example, this is just how we roll downrange, right? Or within the teams. Like, so we had, for example, the M9 before we got Glocks, right? They were issued, but guys would just sign for them, put them in their fucking locker, and run their personal shit anyways because they like shooting Glocks, right? So even though we have SIGs now, that doesn't necessarily mean the guys are going to use them, right? But me personally, I'm a Glock guy. I'm not a fan of the SIGs at all. Yeah,
and the XM7, like, take it over. So the XM7 is basically SIG's version, the military version of the Spear combat rifle. Like, okay, I've never shot it. Like, okay, if it performs better, I mean, that's more of a grand thumb kind of question. As far as like SIG getting the contracts, man, if they underbid and they can produce the rifle, cool. I deployed probably my favorite rifle that I've ever deployed with was the HK. So I deployed with an HK 416 and a 417. The 417 is the 7.62 variant of the 416. That thing was fucking awesome. It was a gas piston driven system. It was clean as shit. It always worked. It never broke. It was great. It's just expensive as shit. So H&K was never going to get that. As far as sidearms go, I'm also a basic bitch. I love the Glock. I've been shooting that platform forever. It fits my hand really, really well. It's not that I haven't shot a SIG that I haven't liked. The 320 and the 360 are both great platforms for me. They're a little bit small for me, especially when you start talking about the ones that they specifically make for concealed carry. They're just a little bit small for me. I have just slightly bigger hands, way smaller dick than the average human. So it seems a little bit small. Seems a little bit small to me. So I like different platforms, but as far as like, how do I feel about the Army going to SIGs across the board? I mean, there's so much, like Jay was saying, there's so much that goes into it. It's not necessarily the best weapon out there. It's not necessarily the one that performs the best. It's the one that they could get for the lowest bid, really. And then one that can, they have essentially requirements that they put forth. If SIG can, make a 4-minute of angle combat rifle, which is what they all are. I can't send a super chat. Wow, sorry, Bumblebee.
Yeah, this is what it comes down to. Which fucking generals are within SIG's pocket? Because if you look at, like, how do you explain the fucking ACU debacle, right? Like, who authorized the purchase of ACUs that we wore for like 5 fucking years?
I got to chime in, Jay. I got to chime in. Hang on, wait a minute. I got to chime in, okay? So I'm a new dude. I show up at SEAL Team 8, 1998. Everybody's talking about fucking camouflage, right? Oh, we're going to change getting away from fucking M81 woodland camo. We're going to go to some new shit, fucking digicam. I raised my hand in a fucking meeting because my dumbass new dude was sitting in training, right? Because I missed a class. I had to be in training for a while. And I said, hey, man, all the hunters wear real tree. You're fucking invisible in real tree.
Which, by the way, is right. You weren't wrong.
And they're like, yeah, we're in the fucking military. We need a camouflage.
Better get that Marpad, dog.
I was like, I got quiet. I fucking said my 2 cents. Shut the fuck up, new guy. And as I was leaving, the fucking snipers were like, yeah, like it's the dumbest thing in the world. Like all we got to do is put on fucking real tree and we disappear. So I just bought real tree. I rock real tree out there in the bushes and shit. Like fuck y'all, man. Like
100%.
I'm telling you, it all comes down to what generals is. Same thing with the fucking radio. Like, yeah, it's all politics, man.
And I will say the one thing, and it's been brought up in the chat, and great job, guys. You're obviously very smart. We have the smartest followers anywhere over here. You guys are amazing. 137 of you in the chat. Go ahead and go throw a thumbs up in there before let's get to 100 thumbs up. That'd be kind of cool. We got 94. Can 6 of you do me a favor and throw a thumbs up in the chat? Oh, we're at 98. Can we get to just 2 more of you? Throw a thumbs up in the chat. But what I will say I have a problem with, SIGs have been known, and I've seen it on video. SIGs just go off in the fucking holster, completely untouched by people. Like they
just
I've seen
people's dicks off. Like,
dude. There was a cop doing like
cop got shot.
Yeah. There was a cop doing like standoff or like turnover or whatever, stand by, stand up, turnover, whatever the fuck they call it, guard mount, whatever the fuck. But no kidding, like he literally just put it in and it was on film and it goes click and just clacks off at his holster. He wasn't even touching. It's crazy. And we got a super chat. I know this is late. Bumblebee, what's up? I know this is late, but I really hope the U.S. eventually goes nuclear power, creating jobs and becoming more energy independent. That is a great super chat. It's a statement, not necessarily a question, but I will weigh in. I think you're dead right. I think if you were truly an environmentalist and somebody that cared about America and energy independence.
Oh man, did we lose him?
Yeah, I can't hear him. There he is.
Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah, you went straight 10 cups, brother, and string.
Oh shit, sorry. Yeah, sorry, homie. But no, nuclear. You're totally right, Bumblebee. Nuclear is the best way to do it.
Hey, Bumblebee, I got something for you. How about you go read Tesla's books? Because we got free energy. Ooh. Stupid simple. Okay. How about we get rid of these airplanes that we built in 1903? And how about we come into the whatever century we're in, and we break out some Tesla technology so we could live anywhere in the world and get to anywhere in the world in like 5 minutes. But that's just me saying, like, we over here harboring technology to make sure that we can stay on the oil. I just wanted to throw that out there for all of the laymen out there that were wondering if nuclear was the best. Illinois.
Well, I think it's coming, dude, because Google's about to go to nuclear technology now for their fucking software side of things. So if companies like Google's doing it, like I think the writing's on the wall. I don't think oil and like the typical vehicles that we grew up with is going to be around long. I think Elon Musk is slowly changing the playing field.
Yeah,
Hey,
Illinois is blue on the map right now, but Chicago reporting, so it's 411,000 to 314. Robert F. Kennedy got 8,000 votes on there. It's hilarious. So 56%, but that's only with about 13% estimated reporting.
It's coming down to the wire.
All right, boys. Let's go. I'm excited.
Aaron, whenever you're ready to go, you can wrap us up, and then tomorrow we'll come on here and cry.
I ain't crying.
Are we coming back tomorrow? We gonna do a wrap up tomorrow?
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah,
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday's our next one.
Oh yeah. I'm all in, dog. I'm gonna tell you right now. I might start a news channel. I'll get sued for disinformation and shit.
Just right away. Well, hey, everybody, I want to say thanks for coming out. Thanks for everybody in the super chat for sending us your questions. Everybody for sitting in the chat and talking to one another. This is our most popular one that we've ever done. It's 136 in right now with a lot more people that's viewing. Here's what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to do tomorrow if I wake up and I find out Trump didn't win? Man, it's going to suck for the next 4 years, but I'm going to fucking grind. I refuse to stop. I'm going to still love this country. I'm going to kiss my family. I'm going to hug my son. I'm going to be the best dad that I can. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to drink my water, and I'm going to try to take care of my friends, and that's it. Do I want them to win? Of course I do. I think it's best for the country, but this isn't the last election. You should vote like it is, but it's not the last election. It's only the last election if you, the American citizen, decides that this American experiment is not worth it anymore. These people are your countrymen. These people are your fellow people. They're people with bad ideas. They're not evil people unless they really are evil people, and then feel free. Go ahead and go guns heavy. I want to say thanks to everybody for coming out, checking out the War Room, checking out Jay's page, checking out Jake's page. Ben will be with us next time. He's big timing right now. He might be on the ground somewhere, protecting a ballot box. We don't know. The guy big times us all the time. So we'll see you next time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on Fridays until we decide that we're going to change it back. We might go back to Wednesdays. We might keep it here, but we love you guys. Thanks very much, each and every one of you. We really do appreciate your support. Sometimes I give you especially some tough love, but it's because I respect you. If I didn't, I would ignore you. So there you go. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys, man. Enjoy election night. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Crazy.
America!
Hell yeah.
All right, fellas. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Late. See ya.